What is going on, YouTube world? Steve, Dave, Insert Revolution podcast on the air. I don't know if it's 32 or 33. 33.
33.
As I see it on the phone, that's one of the benefits that'll pop up when we go live. We will get to the Easter eggs. We've got a sponsor. We'll do that now if that's readily available.
Uh, it's in there.
Okay, we'll get to that when the time warrants it. But first, we'll jump into breaking news. I wish I had the old PSA shutting down several tiers of service. No value, regular, or express, effective immediately. And that's going to be hopefully regenerating, restarting, whatever, July 1st
July 1st.
of this year. So,
Kind of interesting. We know Carlos already made a video, but we did want to touch on it briefly. However, make sure you definitely go check out Carlos's video that he did put up on this. He did send it to us, and it was one of those. He had an opportunity to be able to probably put something together and discuss his thoughts, or at least his initial thoughts. So Dave, and I know you have stuff jotted down just for some clarification, so everybody is aware. So the three services that they shut down, that leaves which one's still open?
that leaves the Express and the Super Express. And if it's a walkthrough, that's going to be your $5 cards that are Jordan rookies, Mantle, high grade vintage. What the tobacco cards like Cy Young or Christy Mathewson, Ty Cobb, stuff of that ilk. Probably big money LeBrons, Kobe rookie stuff of that ilk. So if you got a big money card, you still are probably doing good because again, you're going to be dropping some hefty cash on the submission fees. But if you're looking to grade Topps Archives Juan Soto, or you have a bulk submitter on a Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever it's at, you're SOL until July 2021 at the earliest. And I will be surprised. Ziggy Palfy, that's notated as the top of the mountain. That's the creme de la creme. But if it's something I can't send in my Josh Johnsons, Steve can't send in his Terrell Davis's, Mike Modano, unfortunately, is probably just underneath that rung. So it should have happened months ago. Instead of the price increase, they probably should have just said, hey, we're going to shut it down now. If everything goes to plan, I don't know. We keep hearing about the extra space that they got. At some point in time, you think they'd bring in some other graders. Again, as we've all discussed on various streams, that it's not going to take months upon months. It shouldn't take too terribly long to sort of acclimate people. Again, especially if you can sort of put some with seasoned graders, as it were. Hey, this guy does vintage. Let's go do 4, 6, 8, 10 over there. Sort of like just going to stations and keep those people there instead of spreading them around. Just you need more people trained to grade those specific things and stay in that lane. So you hope that PSA, this is part of like Nat Turner, if this is part of his plan, if it's what's happening here, that I hope there's some more leakage of who's orchestrating this and coming through with it, because again, it's not only interesting from like a business perspective, it's very interesting from the collector's perspective, because again, it affects pretty much all of us in one way, shape, or form. If I don't submit, that's fine, but I know somebody does. Ed does. or somebody else does, or I know Manny runs a submission on Facebook. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you're directly affected. Indirectly, you will be affected in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and at a minimum, although we know it's the base announcement, it's one of those in which you're definitely going to want to check with your group submitters and see if they actually are also in fact impacted by that, depending on, I guess, where they stand in the pecking order within PSA. There's a possibility that they may still be able to do certain submissions, but they could be limited and things along those lines. So at a bare minimum, since we just found this out literally within the last hour or so, I think it's better to to check with your bulk submitter and see if they were in fact impacted. It'll be interesting to see what that's going to do to the other grading companies. SGC is probably going to start seeing an influx. HGA, they already limit theirs, so it's one of those in which they have the possibility to take some market share potentially if they can figure out a way to do it. It's a hot topic within our core group, in which who's going to take advantage of opportunities to try and grab some of that market share, and this is going to be a prime opportunity for somebody to really step up and solidify that number two, so to speak. On the flip side, the pending question is going to be, since they also notated it's going to be a reopening on a tiered approach, what tiers are they going to open? My assumption would be they're not going to open the lowest until much later. So if they are in fact doing it tiered, it's going to go to the next highest level, and then it's going to trickle down to where your bulk cheap submissions, although it's not cheap anymore. Hell, that could be September. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. The fact that they said July 1st, if they are on like a fiscal year calendar, that's the start of the third quarter. So, we know they're not hurting for money. It does make sense. It sucks. I'm not going to lie, for a lot of people who, really leverage the submissions and things along those lines as part of their business. But something has to give. And as we all sit there and say, you can only throw so many people at the problem to ultimately rectify it. At the end of the day, this is business. And considering they haven't been able to do anything, they're having to find ways to restabilize their business model, I guess, and to try and kind of reduce the amount of flack and kickback and pissed off people and everything else. Granted, you give this news, it's going to piss a lot of people off. But at the end of the day, they are a business. And if you look at it from a business perspective, it makes a whole lot of sense, because that's where the bulk of their backlog is coming from, is probably from those three tiers. So it'll be interesting to see if they stand behind the July 1st, which tier or tiers they reopen at that point. And if basically stopping them for 3 months is really going to allow them to get through some of that double-digit million backlog. It'll be interesting.
I don't think it will. I think if they had their business druthers about them, and I know being down in Texas, that's more of it's a obviously Republican state, but going back to the COVID stuff, if they would have maybe shut down April, May, June of last year, maybe catch up to a manageable deficit. I mean, not where it's 10 plus million. Maybe you're still holding 500,000 to 2 million cards. Then you can still continue on, but that's not the case, because again, they just didn't do it. So now instead of, hey, we got all these people, we got the 10 million card backlog, we're still rolling, come on, send us your cards. Well, hold the phone. It's you pretty much got like paper boys running there 24/7, just throwing cards at the front door, and Joe Orlando just not knowing what to do. I mean, he looks like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone.
Well,
So,
it's the snowball effect.
mhm,
Like we said from the beginning, price increase, is it going to hurt a whole lot of the submissions? No. Uh, granted, they only just upped them, the 1st of March? Wasn't that when it
mhm,
was? It we as a collective kind of had a thought process in mind as to why they did it at that point in time, to ultimately try and slow down. Uh, However, obviously, it seems that it didn't, because a lot of people probably submitted a crap ton of cards in anticipation of the price increase.
like
So
this guy right here did.
he did. So it's the snowball effect. I mean,
Mhm.
really, and it it rolls downhill, so to speak. I'm trying to keep it clean, at least early on. But in all reality, that's the truth of the matter. So for me, it doesn't change me. It doesn't impact me, at least not currently. Um, I can still take advantage of trying to get my cards prepped. I am seriously looking at using Parish products, give them a try and see. For $5 a card, to me, it's worth it, as a little potential boost.
Mhm.
Uh, they've got a lot of I don't want to say they've got a lot of followers, but they're getting good reviews and things along those lines. They seem to have their stuff together. Uh, so if I have the opportunity to, you know, incur an additional $5 a card type situation and have the possibility of it helping, to me,
Yeah.
that's worth the cost. So it's just, I then now have a little bit more time to wait and send stuff in, because even the Kobe's, I think the tops Kobe's fall into that last tier that's still available,
Okay.
because I think it's under 10 grand. I think
Okay.
one of those service levels I know is up to or just under 10 grand or something. So the Kobe's still fall under that. Um, if they gym, of course, they have
Mhm.
to gym in order to meet that.
Criteria.
Because if they don't, PSA nines are still averaging about $1,000. But and I think that last tier that they have suspended, I think it goes up to that. I think, don't hold me to the values, because I don't honestly remember what they are. Dave and I were trying to touch on it briefly to see if we could provide that level of context uh, before going live. It just, we didn't have enough ample time to pull that, as far as what the values are of the still available submission types. Not that anybody can't go pull it up and look, but we were trying to bring information to where you guys didn't have to go look it up. We just didn't get a chance to do it. So
I could see that happening, though. I mean, that's I believe the base they want is the first in, first out, the big baller cards, as a lot of the youths call them. That's becoming what gets you the media attention. That's what gets you attention online with collectors and non-collectors alike. That's what picks up the news outlets pick that up. I could see that happening again. That would be one of the downfalls of the Nat Turner. Nobody's talked about that. He's a big collector of Jordan. Nice, again, not super high grade with the PMG green, but it's the top of the mountain for Jordan. So you look at that stuff, he's not dabbling with the Hoop's 5th anniversary parallels or something like that. He's earmarking and pinpointing big dollar cards. So is that where that shifts? Because again, I don't think that low end tier stuff, you might not see it till the expo, which is usually in second, third week in November for our Canadian friends. That's when I see that starting to pick up. Because again, they, like you said, they've got so many cards in that backlog. They don't have to sit there and rush through stuff. They don't have to sit there and try to get 8 million done by July 1st. They can get a couple million, 2, 3 million, whatever it is, and be happy because you still have that proverbial money in the bank. So what nobody's went from that angle of like, well, are they going to spend towards the Ken Golden, as Paul mentioned? Go for the high end. Go for the bright spotlights or the bright neon lights and the strip of Vegas. Oh, we get that attention, get the attention, and everything else sort of gets washed away. So it's gonna really pose a myriad of conundrums over the next 4 to 8 months, the rest of the calendar year, and see how that trickles out at the end, and then into 2022.
Yep. We can circle back to the sponsor now. Sorry. I
tap into the Rockies Coors Light.
And Dave also has a co-sponsor. This is just for DC Cardboard Underground. We were talking about that the other day via text.
Mm-hmm.
So something else I did want to bring up before we do get into the Easter eggs. I know that was, and I know it's not part of the title, but something else that, was fairly big. Carlos, I had sent you a couple of articles though too, because you have a different way of putting spins on some of the readings. So I happened to stumble across them and send it over to you. So I have a feeling that at least the Friday and the Sunday streams could get interesting with quite a bit of the hobby news, so to speak, in the media world, outside of just the PSA suspension of certain levels. For those who are on Instagram and may or may not follow Mr. Ken Golden Auctions, he did post it on Instagram today on both users, but there was also an article that was posted that they're now accepting payment in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So Bitcoin and Ethereum, however the hell you say it. I don't keep up with crypto. And Cryptogriff is not here to correct me. So shame on him. But they also can pay it out in crypto. And, for those who have watched some of his Instagram live shows briefly, him just, kind of talking through things. He had made mention of being able to pay out in crypto at some point anyways. That was something on the radar.
Yeah.
But they teamed up with somebody, and I can't remember who it is. Carlos, if you happen to remember, by all means, throw it in here. I didn't focus on specifics, but it's one of those in which I felt that, why not mention it, because it is a kind of a shift in the thought process in some of these auction houses and things along those lines. Because as we all know, crypto can go up and down in a drop of a hat. So it'll be interesting to see, if, for instance, somebody buys something in crypto and there's a major shift in that market, and let's say they pay $400,000 in crypto, in Bitcoin, or $400,000 worth of Bitcoin for something. And by the time they pay out their buyer, the price of Bitcoin drops. Where's the difference going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you run the risk of potentially paying out money because of the ever shifting nature of the crypto market. So it'll be interesting to see. It's one of those of which I could see maybe accepting payment in crypto because that gives you an opportunity to be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But to be a consigner and want to get paid in crypto, but at the same time somebody buys in crypto and then there's a drop, it's like that's interesting because as a consigner, you're not going to accept less in crypto because the market dropped for said currency. Golden auctions is going to have to make up the difference. Thank you, Carlos, Gemini. So I just want to throw that out there. Dave, I don't know if you have any takes on that or not, but I thought it was worth bringing up as well because, and there's other things in the news, but I'm going to leave one for Carlos because it'll be interesting to see his take. And my guess is that'll be kind of left open for Friday because it's interesting. But I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything.
For the crypto, I don't know. It's a market. If you got into it right away, especially with Bitcoin, you made a lot of money. But at the same time, that's just something for me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. You already have enough variables in the market to deal with. Now you've got your payment. That variable of, well, is it going to hold its worth? More than likely it will, but you don't know. It's not a guarantee. You know the US dollar isn't going to go down to 20 cents unless we keep on printing stimulus checks. Then that at some point will happen. But I liken it'd be akin to the market of a card. Let's say Greg Oden. What if Greg Oden's right now? For more recent things or discussion, Zion Williamson. If he gets hurt again, like he blows out his knee, I just bought the Prism Gold to 10. I pay for it the next day. He blows out his knee. You can feign oh, it's scratched, oh, it's damaged, whatever the case may be, and get your money back. You can't do that with crypto if like the market drops out, the bottom falls out. So it parallels in one regard and absolutely deviates in another. I know you're trying to, or you aren't, Steve, but Kenny Golden is trying to keep sort of with the times, and he knows a lot of the newer investors in the market are of a digital age, a digital background. That's what they sort of focus on. So stuff of that nature doesn't surprise me. He's trying to capture any market he can. There again, that's Ken Golden being a shrew, sly, but astute businessman. Will it work in the long term? I don't know. That'll be something that we have to watch closely, and it'll bear worth watching because if something does shit the bed, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have chaos ensuing, and chaos always makes for good conversation. So, if nothing else, we'll have that. So, I mean, right now, I don't really have a hot take either way. It's just you don't go to the Everglades and go jumping in the river or the lake right away. You want to sort of tread lightly. You don't know what's behind the door. You don't know what's in the water. So, I'd stick to PayPal, money order, well concealed cash, and that's and briefcases, of course, for our friend Crypto.
Absolutely. Got to make sure we have the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, any Anybody else have any other aspects they want to touch on, or anything we can? Bobby says Neverglades for me. Uh,
That is probably the best.
yeah, and I read that too, Carlos, about PayPal now allowing it as well. Um, it's the sign of the times. I mean, I get it. It's no different than when credit cards were first introduced. Uh, it took some time for adoption, but I mean, my estimation is a large percentage of individuals around the world either leverage a debit card or a credit card of some kind. So it's becoming a mainstay. Is crypto here to stay? My gut tells me it probably is, unless somehow, shape, form, or fashion the bottom just falls out and it all goes to crap. But it's the sign of the times, and it's another way to exchange funds. But it also gets people into that space as well in the event that they decide to take payment in some sort of crypto. So it'll be interesting. But anybody else have anything that any questions, any subtopics related to either the PSA news or the the crypto acceptance within the auction house and even PayPal, for instance? Probably not. We're not going to have a wealth of information on those topics, really, but it's worth at least touching on it and bringing it up for those people who may or may not have seen it or knew. Uh, it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carlos. So we'll give you guys a few moments to see. If not, we will definitely circle back and touch on the original topic of discussion for the evening. Uh, and I have a feeling, because I had to get some clarification myself. Even with the pictures that Dave posted, that's not what I was thinking. Uh, so after some additional discussions, I now I got it. But see, I can't answer that question, LA Pats. I have no idea. Since it's quote unquote tradable, I would think it would have to be somewhat regulated, but probably not to the extent of like the stock market. Or they haven't stuck their greedy hands in it just yet. It's no different. The card market's not regulated, and the card market, or I should say the card economy, could be regulated to some degree, because we all know there's manipulation all over the place. But do we want them to step in and really force some sort of regulation? Uh, just throwing that out there. Yeah, Mike, that's valid, especially. I know somebody mentioned it earlier. Kind of stop the influx of stuff right before the new Prism basketball drops. But at the same time, it'll be interesting to see if it does have an adverse effect on, we'll call it the mid tier stuff
Mm-hmm.
and the lower tier stuff. Because if they're shutting down the doors, you've got a 3 month gap of not much hitting the market. You're going to slowly see an influx of them. Since they've shut the door, they're not taking anything more, which means more is going to push out. But that's still going to be on a tiered approach or on a tiered level, so to speak. You may start seeing a larger influx of some of those cards hitting the marketplace, what, May, mid-May, end of May. So it could be interesting. It could be interesting because it could have an adverse effect. More hit the market, which means the prices drop. There's a lot of variables that can come into play on some of these, and as as all of us know, we're not market followers, so to speak. It's one of those in which we'll all just kind of see how it plays out. We can all kind of speculate, but at this point, it's too hard to know.
Yeah, I could still see a LaMelo Gold, a LaMelo Finite, Anthony Edwards Finite, some of those high end, top tier rookies, low numbered stuff going through. I still don't think that will affect the prices of the cards. I think it's gonna, if the people want to hold, they're gonna hold and hope. If they're not, they want to move the stuff. They get a LaMelo, I don't know, whatever, a blue, whatever matches the Charlotte Hornets, the blue or a teal or aqua. They're going to probably move that right away. They're not going to sit on it. If it's something big, they'll send it in because if they have the money to, they'll send it in, get it graded, and get it encased because that's obviously where the money's going to lie. And if it doesn't meet those criteria, those qualifications, guess what? They'd be diligent to hold it because I can still see that stuff going up eventually because just because one facet of the market has sort of shut down, it's not the whole category. One company in a category is basically taking a knee for a few months, and it's not completely shutting down. That's the thing. If they said, hey, we're national, we'll open up, we're back in business, okay, right now we just got to catch up. Everybody just sit this one out. Beckett, they're backlogged too. SGC's backlogged. HGA's taken 3,000 or whatever it is a week. Good luck. I mean, if you know where the money is, it's with a PSA 9, 10, whatever it is. That's where you're going to get your most resale value. If you want to go to those guys, hey, more power to you, but we've already got you sucked in. You know where the money lies if you choose or when you choose to flip it. So
yeah, Carlos, and that's kind of what I was alluding to kind of earlier. It's all speculation up to this point because, as we all know, the market in itself has been interesting to say the least over the past 18 months. But we can say one thing and think that, based on history and everything else, it makes sense. But over these last 18 months, history is irrelevant. Things just, if anybody could sit there and honestly figure out how to put their finger on, true market trends and everything else, and, figure out a way to market it and charge millions of dollars, they'd probably make it. But that's the thing. Even though we have tools out there that show the peaks and valleys of cards and things along those lines, it's not the overall market. It's that card. So that one card does not dictate the market. No matter how you look at it, no matter what grail it is, it doesn't matter if it's the 52 Mantle. It doesn't matter if it's the 86 Flair Jordan. It doesn't matter. One card does not dictate the overall market. And when you have so many people trying to focus on certain trends of certain cards and seeing some leveling or some adjustment, it's not always a negative thing. Some of this stuff jumped up, almost exponentially without warning, and it grew way too fast. Which in that case, typically there is a leveling out at some point. That doesn't mean that the market's tanking. A drop in percentage of one card of all graded versions over the last month and a half, 2 months, does not mean that the market is crumbling. It doesn't. The sky is not falling. But, it's more an indication that maybe we're going to start seeing a little bit more of a stabilization, which is really what we need. Well, from a collector perspective, that's what we need. I can't speak for those who are in it just for the money. But as a collector, stabilization is not a bad thing. So it's crazy to think so many people focus on certain cards and try and pinpoint it as market indicators of what's going on in the overall hobby economy, as Carlos uses that term. But you can't base everything on one. You can't. Chicken sandwich little. You can't base it on one card. You can't base it on two cards. You can't base it on 100 cards.
No.
You can't base it on 1,000 cards. You'd actually have to look at it as an overall type volume type perspective to see if and when the market is taking a turn, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Whether it be a downturn, whether it be a stabilization, whatever it may be. And the only way that would happen is if somebody built a platform that monitored everything in existence. And that would take a lot of work, but that's the only way that you would truly know. So the economy's fine, the market's fine. We're still seeing, big sales on some big cards. We're still seeing records being broken, but some of that higher tiered stuff, that's where you're starting to see a little bit more of the leveling off. And that's, for me, in my perspective, in my opinion, that's a good thing for collectors.
Well, yeah, what the last few Jordan 10s were around the $400,000 mark or so. That's down from 700, 725 in February. But then before that, the high water mark a year ago, whatever it was what, 175, 225, somewhere in there.
Yeah, the ceiling has grown substantially on some of these cards. And that's the part that people fail to realize. You got to look at the ceiling. And if the ceiling has increased, that shows a very healthy market. Yeah. Just because you've seen a drop over the last month and a half, 2 months, does not mean that, we're now in a downturn. That's no.
No, if you saw like that Jordan jump to 700, 720, and then the next copies like 2-3 weeks later were 40 and 50,000, then when you see it drop below the previous high with no indicators, Michael Jordan did something heinous. He pulled OJ, or Ted Bundy did something of that magnitude. Then you start to wonder, even without looking at all the data, all the variables, you're like, okay, there's something wrong here, but there isn't. It's still two plus times higher than the previous high sale. So again, we want We want the market to go up for our own collections. We want it to go up for our friends' collections. We sort of want it to stabilize or go down a little so we can buy more. But I think ultimately we just want more people to list stuff that's affordable and they're willing to work with us. That would be my goal. I don't care if my collection went up 50 times or went down 50%. It wouldn't matter. There you go. See, last June.
Yep. And that's the thing. You know, you got to look at the ceiling. Where is the ceiling at now?
Mhm.
You know, and that's a good market indicator that things are still going well. And to answer your question, Bobby, I think in time, yes. But when that's going to look, when that would be, hell, it could be 10 years from now. Could be 5 years from now. Could be 2. You know, you just don't know. But is it, I hate to use the term iconic, but in the basketball world, I have to say that's an iconic card. I mean, everybody knows about the 86 Jordan as it pertains to card collectors. And if you were a new investor coming in and you wanted to put your money in a decent, you know, player, you're going to look at, you know, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, those type of guys. So why wouldn't you want to have a Jordan rookie in your collection or your in your portfolio, for instance? You know, Gary Vee swears it's $1 million card. Is it something that we may be able that you know we may see in our lifetime? It's possible. It's possible. I'm not doubting that it's not possible, but in the foreseeable future, no. And that could have been a prime example of some of an influencer trying to pump and dump. Not trying to say that that's the case, but because there is so much more media hype and you know athletes and influencers and folks with a crap ton of money talking about a lot of this stuff, you can't say that it's not possible for individuals trying to pump and dump stuff. It's inevitable. It's the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the best time is now to do that, unfortunately. Because you have so many sets of eyes, collector news, just casual observers. Everybody's looking to see what's going to happen. So you can do it now. Again, that's unfortunately the best time to do it.
very much so, very much so. Well, I know it's already 43 minutes into the show. Normally we would have already touched on the subject, but well, and you know, Carlos, it's in all reality that is a fact, but you know, at one of those, it's hard to know. I just look. I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to be a logical thinker here. The only problem is logic doesn't exist in this current market. But you know, at the end of the day, hell, we could wake up tomorrow and you know it's spiked yet again. So all that's going to mean is more people are going to buy into it at the cheaper price and try and pump it.
Mm-hmm.
So on to the other subject. This is actually going to be probably one of the only episodes in which we touch on two subjects that intertwine with the market, and it's actually going to take the bulk of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
The last week or two prior to the cryptocurrency and then the PSA announcement, there hasn't been a lot of news. And there's like the run up too for like the last 6 weeks, starting probably the end of January, beginning of February. You seem to have something every week that was drawing the attention of the collecting world, drawing the attention of the media world, or just drawing the attention of collectors talking back and forth that might not be huge on a monetary scale, but there's still something here, something there, some sale, something going on. So it's good to have a couple big things, especially at the beginning of the week. So that way, those streams that go on Friday and Sunday, they can pick up our slack if there's any slack left to be had. So it's always nice to have that at least at the beginning of the week. So again, you have time to prep or time to sort of do a deeper dive. I know I eagerly anticipate Carlos and his thoughts on the subject after actually having time to do some digging and some research. Because he always has a take that's respectable and knowledgeable and not 100% from the vantage point of a collector. It's the overall encompassing thoughts of each segment of the community. So that'll be interesting to see if what we don't throw shade on here, Paul. I might throw shade if you're standing next to me and the sun's coming down at a certain angle, but that's about it. Might be like a 5 or 10 degree temperature difference.
If you saw what he ate for dinner last night, geez. Like I said, it looked like a heart attack in between two buns.
Like I said, I'm a growing boy. The circumference. Pretty soon, if there's short people that walk past me, they're going to be sucked into my orbit. So, with that, we will not just touch on the subject. We'll actually get to the main episode theme is the Easter eggs in cards. Now, I know Steve, when he asked, I'm thinking he sort of had an idea of what I had come up with, but I'm sure a lot of folks out there are just like, what the hell are you talking about, you stupid fat Amish guy? What nonsense are you rambling this time? What diatribe are you going to bore us with or convolute with gibberish? And I hearken back to DVDs. You could find bonus matches, I know, on some of the old WWF ones. If it was like a singular wrestler, if you had sort of like the contra code or a cheat code for a video game, on your remote, you'd push right twice on something and it'd go to like a bonus match or go to a bonus interview or a bonus like promos or something. And I know they've done that with other like the movie DVDs as well. So you bought something but were pleasantly surprised with additional added value to what you bought without knowing that it was there. So we're going to dive into a few cards. I mean, and there's plenty from that late 90s, early 2000s, even into the mid 2000s with playoff doing a lot of stuff. We'll try to go through some just to do what we try to do every episode is spread some sort of knowledge. I mean, I don't want to say we're going to smarten you up, but at the same time, on a couple of these, maybe we'll smarten you up. So
We will enlighten them.
So it happened after I ate the burger about 8 hours later. I enlightened my body mass index, my BMI.
No, I said enlighten, not lighten. There's a difference, Dave. Use your words right. Come on. Jeez. Am I gonna have to throw out nomenclature? Which Carlos did.
I heard somebody else use it the other day. It was very disappointing.
That would have been Carlos on Sunday, and I happened to be watching at the time. Yeah, Paul, if you don't want to listen to the topic, you might as well leave. Although you've been around long enough to know over the last few episodes, we've done really well about touching on the topic, at least the first part of the show. So this just actually is going to carry in a little bit longer than what it normally does, but we didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to talk about the breaking news from the PSA perspective.
So what do you want to start with, Steve? You want me to go first, or
I go ahead and kick it off. No, go ahead and kick it off because not only are we going to talk about some of these, some will probably be a little bit shorter because we don't have examples. As much as what we would have loved to have had examples of some of these, it's not always possible. So some of these will just be talking points and to elaborate on the whole Easter egg aspect of them. And like I said, for all of you who watched or saw the placeholder and saw the 3 cards, you'll understand what this is about once we start showing and talking through some of these. But no, definitely go ahead and kick us off with a few that you had thought of that unfortunately we don't have examples of. And I'm going to drop off Cam for just a minute, but I am going to be here.
Okay. The first one I'll get to is the one on the the left of the placeholder, which I know Cardboard Underground was very despondent when I said in our text chat, that we'll leave the show off with the PSA news because it's pertinent and breaking and it should be expounded upon. But it's a Wayne Corbett when you look at it. So Leaf Rookies and Stars, that's the 1998 version. It's the longevity. Those cards are serial numbered to 50. But for those of you that do not know, card serial number 1 of the 50 is a hollow foil. The rest are like a silver, just a foil stock. There is no like refractive foil to it. Serial numbered 1 of 50 has that refractive stock. Those are 1 of 1s. So the 1 of 50 in that whole run is a 1 of 1, and there's 49 of the regular Leaf Rookies and Stars longevity parallel. That was something that wasn't, I don't know if it's still widely known. Another one I thought I had, and I looked through my Forsberg stuff and I could not find one, so got to go with the written. Is the 97-98 Donruss Elite Prime numbers. There is a base variation which is not die cut, and then spoiler alert, there's a die cut variation. The numerology in this is dictated as such. Let's say a card is numbered to 288. in the non-die cut sequitur. The first card, because there's 1A, 1B, and 1C, and that's all card number on the back is as such. The A version is going to be the most limited. So let's say it's numbered to 288. 88 would be the first one, the amount of copies available. 208 would be the second part, or the second copy's stated print run, and then 280 for the third. So card 1A is going to be your most valuable in the non-die cuts. The die cuts, on the other hand, that's a tricky one because they just line up in the serial numbering. So let's say that same card number to 288. The first one, 1A, in this one is not the most limited, it's the most plentiful. That's numbered to 200. 1B would be to 80. 1C would be to 8. So non-die cut regular base card insert, the first one, 1A, that's your most limited, but the die cut 1C will be the most limited because it just says on the back 288, 536, whatever it is, the knit serial number. It's not like 6 of 6 because 536. It's not. It's still on the back to 536. So if you don't know that, there may be a chance you've passed over some card like this and, oh, 536, who cares? But if it's the 1C version, you could have probably had a nice card for dirt cheap, just depending on who knows about it and who doesn't. So that's a couple of them that I've scratched off that came to mind. I think right away. I think baseball's the same way because I think they only did that for 90. Was it 98? I believe. So it's the same thing there where they're tough to find if it's a die cut, the 1C. If you see them, obviously write this information down. Just 1A die cut or non-die cut is your most limited. 1C for the die cut is the most limited because it's something just to look up once in a while. Somebody might not know what they have. Again, if I see that, I will. It's not. I don't know. That's a topic for another discussion, I believe. Do you feel comfortable if you saw like a Barry Bonds 1C die cut, $10? I would. If it's not my, I can only inform and educate so much. You put $10 stamp on there, I am paying $10 for it. That's so. I mean, if you can have a moral conundrum over it, but I would not.
Nope, agreed. And so most of mine are football, but kind of goes in line. So if you haven't bothered to pick up, it's a play on the serial numbering. Serial numbering could be 150, 200, 400, 1,000, whatever. However, certain variations or certain differentiating factors on a card actually change the dynamic. So prime example, 2002 Donruss Classics, past and present. And these are fresh out of the Terrell Davis PC. So nice looking card. But when you look at it, it's serial numbered to 400. Here's the differentiator. The autograph version, so this card, just a jersey, is really what serial numbered to 400. The autograph version, stated print run, is to 25. So the first 25 of 400 are autographed. And this one happens to be number 3 of 400. I'll show one more while you're eating there, Dave. And you may have to pipe in on this one, but I'm pretty sure I remember this one. Donruss Elite, face-to-face, quad face mask, on-card autograph, serial numbered to 100. However, only the first 15 of these are autographed. So this makes it technically serial numbered 6 of 15. However, if you didn't know that only the first 15 were autographed, you would think that this is, an autographed quad face mask piece, serial number to 100. So if somebody were to list it for, let's say $30, granted, Terrell Davis, if this was Barry Sanders as Dave had in, the placeholder. If you didn't know that, and if it wasn't listed as such, you could get an even rarer card than what you realize.
Mm-hmm. And there's some other guys in that set that have different print runs, but everything's still low. It's not like
yeah. And I knew with the face to face there was different print run. It was based on where they fell on the checklist.
Mm.
So you had some that were serial numbered to one thing, and then it would gradually get lower. And Terrell Davis happened to fall into the 15 range.
Now, this one by no means is anything of significant value. I mean, when you're talking big money. I don't have the canvas variation of this, but this is another one that we have the Legends of the Fall, which are essentially Diamond Kings, as we knew them in baseball. That's to 778, so it just misses by a couple hundred. But the first 500 are the canvas cards. So the first 500 of the 10,000 are canvas. And again, you'd think that'd be a little more valuable. It doesn't hold a strong value, which it's disappointing because again, these cards are gorgeous as is, but that's another one. If you see something that's numbered under 500, there's only 500 of them. And that's, again, still for that time, fairly limited. So, and there's the baseball. What years? It's the 97 Legends of the Fall, and then the 99 Donruss Gridiron Kings. And I believe 98 Diamond Kings in baseball. So I don't think there's Donruss in 99. So 98 was the only year, because I know somewhere I've got one. It's going eventually to a fellow YouTuber that collects the player that I think would enjoy it a lot more than I. So, again, not the most valuable that we'll talk about, but you always want to have that info in your back pocket if maybe you're dealing with a Rice collector that came back in, or a Montana collector, or Marino, Emmett, somebody that came back in after, hey, I got out in 96. Well, you missed a bunch of stuff, so you can explain to them and just be like, hey, look at a couple of these little things here and spread the knowledge, and just try to be nice. Get that one good deed out of the way a week.
No, agreed. And we will end up saving the best for last because Dave happens to have at least one example. So I'm going to, let him end with fireworks. But this is one that I had Dave actually look up today because I had forgotten about this one because I hadn't integrated it in to the collection yet. But 2002 Playoff Honors award-winning materials. So you got a die-cut jersey and then an autograph. So stated print run on just the jerseys, because I actually have the jersey piece too. Just the jersey. I can get this to show up. Sometimes this silver doesn't show up as well. Is numbered to 50. However, the first 10 in this set are autographed. And this one happens to be number 3. 3 of 10. So technically, this should be a 3 of 10, but it is not. So same situation. Somebody could list this as, jersey auto, Terrell Davis, number to 150, not realizing that, in fact, that the stated print run for the auto version are numbered to 10.
And I think Joe mentions here the SP Future Watch. I don't know if it's the first 50 or 100 that have, sometimes it's like their debut game. They'll put like 3/18, 2017 or whatever it may be, or first goal this time. So I think it's either 50 and under or 100 and under. So those are from the hockey realm, another hockey one.
Well, and then you have, just to go back a little bit, though, not too far back, but you have the red auto variation on, like the rookie premiere for Topps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the stated print run is, but, you had your black ink or your blue ink because, for whatever reason, heaven forbid somebody actually signed in the same color. There was always those, anomalies that would take place on some of those. But then you had the red ink variation. And for like the single red auto or something, it was like the 20 or 25. But the duals, I think it was like 10 or something. But it wasn't, and those weren't serial numbered. Mm-mm. So it kind of follows the same aspect of, the Easter egg as it pertains to, what we're talking about. But in those situations, they weren't serial numbered. But they still gave you a quote unquote stated print run of like the red autographs for the rookie premier autos in Topps when they released them.
In that same vein, I remember Press Pass too was real good with that. Eventually, it'd come out with a checklist. It wasn't right away though. They'd always make you buy that product up and bid on the stuff if we're trade high or trade heavy for it, because you'd get either a nickname. There'd be a nickname maybe for the blue version to 50, the silver version to 199, the gold version to 99. You'd have a red ink, you'd have maybe a green ink, you'd have a nickname. That was what made Press Pass fun to collect. Being a college guy, looking at some of these guys that weren't going to go pro at the time, like a Brendan Browner, before he got big in Seattle. He wasn't drafted. He had a lot of stuff. Gino Gaduli, a Darius Bowman. There's a bunch of Darius Bowman stuff out there. But that's what made it fun. But you also knew Press Pass after a couple of years was going to be good for that. So it wasn't like, oh my God, there's, I don't know, like let's say a Christian Okoye that just said Nigerian Nightmare on. That's it. So I'm like, that's cool. But after a while, that's what became their calling card. So it wasn't, that Easter egg went away very quickly. But that was another one too, because I mean, you'd have 50 of the blue autos or the blue serial number to 50 blue background, and then you might have like 3 in red ink and two nicknames or like school shout outs or whatever it was, because I got in Darius Bowman. I was gonna pull that and I was like, I don't know if that'll fit in too much to this. It just says go Pokes. He went to Oklahoma State. So there's a lot of stuff out there that, and I'll give this example as we're going. I don't remember these. Eventually, they came out with the stated print run or the stated odds, but I don't remember them when I was buying this stuff. You knew you were going to get the mirror image because they'd done them the year before. You had like the prospect was supposed to be down in the corner, not the veteran. So when they eventually came out and the inverted, people are like, what the hell's that about? That doesn't make sense. Why is Ken Griffey Jr. in the corner and Jose Cruz is the big guy on the card? And so eventually they had to divulge that information. But initially that was an Easter egg where you just didn't know what the hell was going on. But a lot of these other ones that we're discussing are just ones if you look at serial numbering, you're like, to 150, to 250, not realizing there's like a hidden code within.
Yeah, the same doesn't apply in the modern world for the most part, Joey, is kind of like as you alluded to. But, in mine and Dave's heyday as far as our favorite years of collecting, even, through the mid 2000s, there was a lot of hidden meanings in the serial numbers. And until they started publishing a lot of that, which is why the Beckett Almanac type book is really relevant in those situations, because it gives you some of that information. So one of those cards was a gift. One of them I purchased, and I know for a fact that this one was not listed as such that the first 10 were autographed. So people saw the serial number and thought, oh, it's numbered to 150. I'll see another one at some point or something along those lines. And you don't ever see another one.
No.
This one was a purchase years ago, but this is one that I knew from years prior. So I knew what I was getting with this one. This one was the gift. And, it's one of those in which I didn't realize it at the time of what actually I had when I opened that live on camera. Only through time and research and everything else do you pick up on some of these. Joey, that's a good question. My guess is, since they still do kind of SPs or SP variations, my guess is they probably do. They may not. I know it takes them a while to put them out anyways. Because you can go back years ago. I think Portis in 02 was a short print to 217 or something. I don't know why his name and that number rings a bell with me. But, I know at a minimum 02 had them. I'm pretty sure 03 did. I'm fairly certain 04 did, because some of your top tier rookies were lower print runs. Because Larry Fitz, I think, is one of the lowest print runs in 04. I don't remember the numbering, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly low.
If it's above 50, I'd be shocked, because I think him and Peppers are the lowest that I've seen at 50.
Yeah,
and we're talking, if anybody's listening somehow in the background, talking about 2000 or the early years of Contenders, and if they still do the stated print runs on some of these, what I think is, I don't know if they've gone away from that and done more of here's somebody throwing, here's somebody there's a throwing motion, and there's somebody just in the pocket for a quarterback. There's a running back running, the hand up, sort of like Topps did with their the photo variations in 2011, 12-ish. I know they really went hard with that stuff then, but I think they do it more so based on that, not on
stated print runs.
Either stated print runs or actual, because I think 03, I want to say, 03 was the first year they did serial numbering.
That could be. But I don't remember it any other year, though.
And I don't know where I'd find any of this information.
Because I know O2 had stated for certain players.
01's got stated because Archuleta, I remember him being the big one. The 50.
LA Pats, that's not the question. It's more
the base
for the
version.
new just the base autograph version, not the parallels or anything along those lines. Because there was a run during Contenders in which they actually had stated print runs for certain players.
Yeah, like your Dan Morgan just says auto rookie. You scroll down a little bit, Ken Lucas to 276 with the asterisk, which meant it was a stated print run. It's not actually the 276 notated on the back. Lamont Jordan, Leonard Davis were to 50. Nate Clements, Jamar Fletcher, Robert Carswell.
And what year is that, Dave?
01.
Okay.
So that I like that because it wasn't always the big guys were the limited. Because guess what people did back then? They put together sets. So like an 02, 40 for Peppers. But everything was no 02 must have been 02 was serial number because I know McCown's in there. He's like 595 or 565. What is it? 595, and I know there's the serial numbering on back.
Yeah, I was with you. I knew one year they actually did serial numbering, but they moved away from it though.
They did it 02, 03. They did 03, everything's serial numbered as well. And the lowest is there's a Chris Sims black that's 79. Carson Palmer black to 36.
Yeah, that's the ink.
But that could again, if we had those copies of those cards, that could again be the Easter egg where you don't know if the whole print run is what for Palmer. Palmer is what would it be 204. So you don't know if that's the case or not, but it's always tough to explain to folks this type of stuff, these type of intricacies, because if you weren't there for it, it just seems like codes and gibberish. You're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? If it's printed 247, done. Nothing else can be. No, it's like layers. So it's one of those situations where if you really want to learn, it can be frustrating, but the payoff could be well worth it.
Yep.
I think the only thing nowadays I could even vaguely equate it to is somewhat like the Walmart Prism variation color, the Target Prism color, the Goodwill Prism color, the Woolworths Prism color, whatever it is. But at least there, it's like, okay, that's to like 6, or that's to 9, or to 12, or whatever. It's the Chuck E. Cheese random insert one is to 18. You already have sort of an inkling of that. I know some of that stuff people probably still don't know because, again, you weren't even there 3-4 years ago to figure it out, or to be flustered and flummoxed by it. Now you do. So that's the only thing that, even like when Joey said, is there anything now that could be in that category? And that would be in the outer fringes of it.
So the question becomes, though, do they ever release the stated print runs for some of those? Since I don't pay as much attention to like the modern stuff. from a collecting perspective, my guess is that at some point it would be out there or somebody's figured it out.
For the Prism,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they have. Because I want to say Joey's got a Kenny Clark something or another variation. That's super low. I know a few years ago, like a Target had the red, Walmart had the blue. I think one was to 7, one was to 8. And again, are there only 7 out there? Or are there only 8? I don't know. It just seems like, again, Prism was a little more lean on the production, I believe, in like 2017, 2016. I'll say 2018, probably not. But again, if you don't get those, as we've said before, when something drops right away, product comes out, you're facing an uphill battle. Because a lot of that stuff doesn't show. I know I haven't seen any McCown stuff. There's like what the silver sparkles are supposed to be out of, I think, stated print run at 20. And those are out of those packs they sell on the Panini site. So again, if you pick your guy up or you see it, pick it up immediately. Otherwise, it's a struggle.
So yeah, Joey, and see, and that's kind of why my curiosity was piqued, because if they give random information, it makes things a little bit more interesting. But if you as a player collector, so to speak, or a team collector, have at least a ballpark type idea, then you know the ones that you need to go after outside the ones that are, serial numbered to, 10, 8, 4, 6, 2, 1, whatever it may be. So you focus on those based on the short print aspect of it. But you would think at some point they would be wise in releasing exactly what those are. Because if for any reason, it didn't sell well initially, then, they could be sitting on a buttload of unopened product. It'll then add some additional push to, try and sell what's left because of somebody chasing the rarer short prints in the variation colors. So,
Yeah, because I think there's a copper or a bronze one too. But one of these days I'll bust out my McCowns and see what I've got, because I know that stuff. I'm like, okay, if it doesn't have the serial number and it doesn't look like a traditional parallel, I'm like, it said Target or Walmart, or I'm just like, I'll get it right now. If I overpay, that's fine. I a lot of stuff you're not going to see.
agreed. And I think you have one more left to show, Dave. Probably one of the most infamous ones of all. Two? Okay.
And again, these are serial numbered to
1989, in case anybody can't read it.
you see the serial number on it's like 67. The first 150 are autoed. So Barry Sanders is in there, Deion Sanders, Derek Thomas, Troy Aikman, Neil Smith, Vinny Testaverde, Doug Flutie. I don't know who else. I'm sure I'm missing Rod Woodson, but one of the nicest sort of retro go back again. The 89 score is, even without it being more short printed than usual, it's still such a nice set. So if you see those, again, most folks aren't going to have a Derek Thomas on the cheap, just because it's Derek Thomas and he passed away quite a number of years ago. God, I think we're rolling on 20 years ago, if we didn't pass that mark in February. But that's another one that because you could see that. I know I got this for a pittance, and I think it was like $15, and I do believe it was because of that serial number on there. This isn't the card, Steve, but I'm going to show Mike, Modown 25. We were talking about this guy the other day. We were talking about I just want to show him this. I dug that out, and we're talking about the St. John's Redman. He was talking about Felipe Lopez and how big of a prospect he was back in the mid 90s in the Sports Illustrated, and reminiscing about that. So, and that, I was happy that the color sort of matches the next card, believe it or not. It's numbered to, where the hell is it, 10. Next card is probably the most famous of Easter eggs. Obviously, a version has the center spotlight on the placeholder. If I had that card, wouldn't be with me. It'd be probably in a lockbox somewhere. But I wish I had the red version to just sort of show them off. It's out of the 97 Metal Universe, the green PMG. Now, for whatever reason, hockey didn't have any of these, the PMGs, which is a crying shame. Baseball, I don't think had them either. I'm fairly certain that they didn't have. They had something different, completely different, and it wasn't of this technology. On the back is 8 of 150. Now for football, there's 150 total of the PMGs. For basketball, there's 100. In basketball, the first 10 are emerald or greens. The other 90 are red. So it's the green shimmer and shine, that's our nice red iridescent glow. For football, the first 15 are the green or the emerald, and the next 135 are the red. And they recreated them in the Fleer Retro. What was it? 14 Fleer Retro.
I can't remember the first year they did them.
I remember, well, maybe 12, because I think Doug Martin had it. But I know 14 did, because I tried to bid on a Bishop Sankey a few months ago, and they had the gold one, I think, to 10. And then there's like a blue one, or a lighter powder blue. So, I mean, they redid them there, but they were numbered as such. It was like the gold was like 4 of 10. It wasn't whatever, 200 or whatever. So
yeah, they completely changed the initial numbering aspect in the Fleer Retro sets, because the year Terrell Davis is in, and I just recently put it on Instagram. I'll remember if it's 12 or 13. I should probably go look. But Terrell Davis has 3. He's got a blue, which is numbered to 50. There's a magenta, which is numbered to 5, which is what I shared. And then there's one more, and I don't remember what color variation it has as far as the name is concerned, but it's a 101.
Okay.
Which, of course, I've never seen. And because of the popularity of PMGs, more so now than back when, Fleer Retro was a thing when they first released, that thing would probably cost close to what a 97 PMG Red would. for Terrell Davis, just because of the iconic name PMG.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that was about all we wanted to get through for those. It wasn't a deep topic, but at the same time, it's something that, especially in our wheelhouse of inserts and parallels to inserts and like trap doors, it's like an old Indiana Jones movie. A trap door or something happens. He comes across that. We wanted to go over those, especially with Easter coming up. I could use some wordplay, which I'm never against using. So my photoshopping skills and editing, absolutely flawless.
don't go that far, Dave. That's definitely a play on words there, Bob, but I can't fault you for that thought process.
This is true.
First time he's piped back up in a while. Leave it to Bob to come in with something. At least it's of substance. Okay, so Bob, got to ask, did that actually come from you or did that come from Chair?
Yeah. Or did
We need,
shelf pipe up for once? And
yeah, we need some clarification on that, Bob. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And Dave, I'm gonna pose the question live because normally I find out after the fact. Did you send the link to anybody by chance? Anybody bothered to?
I didn't.
Interesting. So for those of us in which we have text numbers or cell phone numbers or whatever, any of you guys care to pop on, join in the conversation, see where we can take this? Oh, you found it. That's one you definitely want to get graded.
It probably went grade strong, but still.
Even at an 8, still do fairly well, I would think. So if there are any takers who would like to join for the remainder of the conversation, see where this may lead. If you have mine or Dave's cell phone number, reach out to us. Let us know. We'll shoot you over the link.
I'll say probably you, since I'm on my cell phone right now. That'll be.
Carlos says he'll bite, so I'll shoot this over to you, Carlos. Give me just a minute. I know you said it'd be a little bit, but I'll shoot this over to you. Bob, how about you? We know Ed is drafting. Oh. Dave, I just resent it to you. Sorry. Oops. I failed miserably on that one. All right, Bob, I'll send it to you so you have it. Try something a little bit different this go around. Good old Epics. Too bad it's not the Emerald.
Well, I'm looking at one.
Are you?
I just don't know if I want to
bite on it. And that's technically another one. 97s, their stated print runs.
Yeah. And that's another one where it just says Epics 1 in 21 for, I don't know if it's certified, 1 in 71 for Pinnacle, 1 in whatever for totally certified, or if they were in there at all, but it wasn't. Play is the easiest one to get. Moment is the toughest one to get. So, I don't know. I like those types of insert sets because, or even like the, oh, what is it? It's not. Is it the fabric of the game? I think it's something else. Or
Yeah, fabric of the game is broad.
out of like Leaf certified, because I remember in like '99 before they went to the jersey patches and all that stuff, you had veteran was like to 100. Or veteran was like to 1,000. Semi-star or whatever was to like 500. Superstar was to 250. Legend or whatever was to like 100. And it could have been a myriad of different names. I'll look it up because again, I don't have anything I can look it up in. But it sort of had that same matte type finish as like the canvas, like the Diamond Kings now have for Panini. What is it? Yeah, certified fabric of the game. This one had 3 levels comprised of Pro Bowl appearances done on nylon, career touchdowns done on a leather card, and career yards which were done on a plastic from acetate. So I know there was a hockey one too from, God, what the hell was it, Unlimited?
Joey, I had to send it to you via Instagram. Which means you'll probably have to type it unless you are joining from your phone.
What the hell is that? That was Donruss Limited. Yeah,
That would be
limited,
Leaf. That would be
limited
Leaf
fabric
Limited.
of the game. And this there it had major material to 100 or 1,000, star to 750, superstar to 500, Hall of Fame to 250, and legendary to 100. So that's it's cards and books and food. Those are the 3 things I'm usually surrounded by at some point and or time. I try
Yeah,
to keep
food probably is top of the list.
It has to be. I don't want to be without food within arm's reach.
And just to go back to what I was referring to earlier, since somehow, shape, form, or fashion, we usually talk about food at some point. And Dave, by the way, did you check to see what that one auction ended up going for? Or did you? I was just curious. So this is what Dave sent me last night. Tell me if that doesn't look like a heart attack between 2 buns. Yeesh. I mean, it looked good, don't get me wrong, but damn. Hey, Joey.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Joey?
Well, I can show my examples of what you were kind of showing before, just with the passing the torch stuff. If you give me 1 sec here. That's the only one that comes off right off the top of my head. Here's the lighting's gonna be terrible because of Bart Starr, Brett Favre duel, and then I don't know if it's going to show, but it says 500. 3 out of 500. The first 50 of these
are the dual autos.
Right. Now, I have the Favre.
Is that 99?
What's that?
What year is that, Joey?
2001.
Okay.
I believe. 2000. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now the Favre and the Star singularly, I'd have to. The Star is going to be here close. But just trying to remember. Like, here's the Star itself by himself. 1,500. But
Okay.
the first 100 were in packs, and then the next 50 were redemption replacements. So the first 150 actually are autographed.
Okay.
The rest of the cards were non-autographed, and I probably have 3 or 4 of those just of the Star, because excuse me, I would eventually want to get one graded and be a 9.5. But as you guys know, it's hard to get something that old to grade that well, because no one took care of that kind of stuff back then. It wasn't the inserts were not taken care of, at least like the autographs were.
Well, and especially with that foil, super premium foil everywhere. That's scratches, dimples, corners, anything. You basically put it down wrong, and you're doing some sort of damage to it.
So, Dave, since you have the Beckett Almanac right there, look up 99 Elite passing the torch. Because my guess it's the same, because after future years, they started serial numbering to like truly what the autos were serial numbered to. But the early years, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Joey, because I know you had alluded to it earlier in the chat.
First 100.
For the singular or for the single autos, what about the duals?
It says that says first 100 cards of print run signed, but I don't know if I'd believe that for duels.
Go ahead, Joey.
Here's another example of a different card set, and I want Dave to, since he has no way to look it up, I want Dave to know this off the top of his head. But I think I know this one, and here's 1998 Collector's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Not autographed version. By the way, this is a pop 2 to have it gem, but it's 655 out of 2,000. One of my favorites. This is a pop 1 now. Autograph version blue ink, 38 out of 2,000. I believe the first 50 of these were autographed, and of the 50 autographed, the first 10 were red ink.
That sounds about right. I'll look.
I just one red ink, and it was so faded, and it looked like garbage. I didn't even want it, but I almost wanted it just because it was so rare. But this is the only one graded of this one, and it's gem mint, and I've never ever seen another one. I don't know. It's just they just don't show up. Partly because it's 1998. But
Collector's Edge was both hobby and retail versions, though, too. So it's one of those. There was a crap ton of product produced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to have a card like this, and you can't really tell because it's in the team bag and everything, or the perfect sleeve, and it's got like a checkerboard and shininess to it. It's gorgeous. To have it out of 2,000 is, man, yeah. We don't get that kind of, that was considered rare. But a 1998 autograph card, on card. I think it's one of my oldest ones I have. There's like the 97 Legends I have.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall, but that's 99 score inscriptions.
Yeah.
I mean, to have anything in the 90s is just about as rare as it can get. So this Collector's Edge Masters, Super Masters is what they're called. It's one of the very first, maybe the second autograph he's ever have. I'm not sure on that, but I know there's not a whole lot in the 90s, maybe 3 or 4 at the most.
Yeah, I think there'd just be the 3. I don't know if does he have a 99 or is it a 2000 UD Legends?
He
The one that's
the one that's faked. I mean, let me see. I have just gotta find it. It's, I have owned probably 3 or 4 of those. Here it is right here. Here's a legit one. These are not numbered. There's no print run that I know of. This is the 2001.
okay.
But those, yeah, there's enough. We can do a whole show just on the Johnny Unitas and the fakes of Bart Starr. I mean, I can tell you stories just on that. Since the one thing I do know on the planet is Bart Starr's autograph. How many times I had to tell someone they had a fake card? I just told someone last week on Instagram, and I said I know a lot of the Johnny Unitases are fake, but I don't know his autograph by heart. I would actually have to compare it to a own autograph. But you can't buy any of those cards without checking with someone that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's such a shame. The finest moments, isn't that 2000?
Yeah, it's either 2000 or 2001.
2000. That's of course it's upside down. 2000. That's one of the very first few ones. But obviously I don't know any other one other than the first one's got to be 97 Legends that I know of. And of course, those are SP too, but they never gave us a print run on those.
No.
So all I know is that it's the number 1 card in the set, like the first or one card number, and it's SP. You don't see them. I've never seen, I don't know, a handful anywhere in the last 6 years, maybe 5 or 6. They're in people do that. If you're going to put a set together of football, the 97 Legends set is one of the most iconic sets there is. Everyone. So if there are Bart Starrs, they're usually in sets. They don't crawl away from them too much. So, I mean, and that's the weird thing, Contenders Upper Deck had those weird kind of, but in 97, it's so old. It's when I graduated high school, which doesn't seem that far long ago, but it in the card world it is. To have that, it was so new to have like autograph on cards. So to have that be what am I trying to say here? It's trying to. It was so. The set is so iconic because it stood the test of times. It had legendaries, it had Hall of Famers. You try to put a set together like that now with the short prints, not knowing what they are. You pretty much had to buy them no matter what, at any price.
Yeah,
like those ones that we showed had numbers on them. And they had stated print runs. Those didn't have anything. No. I'm trying to think of what isn't like the Jim Brown. Jim Brown might have been in that one as a SP. I can't remember though. But I remember there was even redemptions in that set
Well, there's a ton of redemptions. There's a ton.
Yep.
Really,
And
one of
what's going
them
on, Carlos?
he never
Good.
signed.
How's it going?
Terribly disappointed.
Yeah, all your big name guys were pretty much short prints in that set.
But yeah, so this print run thing is like we've looked through them, we've done them, but if you're a new collector coming into the hobby, you see something that's to 150 and you're like, so what?
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I've seen that, been there. Like, I can't believe how cheap some of the red and blue retail prisms go for. When I know, I'm like, oh crap, you don't let this one go. And I'm specifically talking football because that's my realm, but I don't know what it is for basketball. Do they still even do that? Have retail prisms?
I haven't paid attention.
Well,
Carlos
Panini has variants, has a bunch of variants depending on the way it comes. So if you got like a monster box, certain types of blasters, certain types of this, that, and Prism has 40 parallels. So some of them are retail exclusive, this particular exclusive. Dave joked about like the random, I was hoping he would keep it on the down low about the Chuck E. Cheese exclusive. A lot of people didn't know about that. Just zip it, Dave. Zip it. But just about everywhere else, yes. Because Target had its own exclusive and these other ones had their own exclusive, and you'd have to buy the box that happened to be labeled for that retailer to be able to pull that parallel. And it's not like they're the only ones that do that, because Topps, the pinks are available only in certain specific things. These other ones are only available in certain specific things. Yeah. So they're the yellow variant, exactly. So it's like, yeah.
Yellow was
All green.
wow. See, I'm even learning. I mean, I think I remembered that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've done it for so long. We kind of, it's like I said, a new collector comes in there and they're like, these parallels doesn't mean anything to them. I mean, if I was just joining the hobby, I'd be so overwhelmed right at the moment with as much as there is in a rainbow. I have to do enough research now just on 2016 Kenny Clark. Yes. I thought there was a ton. There's nothing compared to what there is now to chase for Prism. It went like overboard in my eyes. I'm like, wow, do I really need that? Because there's no white sparkle, I think, for that. I don't think I have a white sparkle to get to.
No.
Yeah, what was the first year they did white sparkle though?
It's got to be after 16, so 17, 18. Does that sound right? I mean, I'm just right off.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know, because I know that there's been like listings for TD, but it's later years. But the issue is he's not in all years of Prism. There's 1 year in which he's only got 4 or 5 parallels or something, and then the insert parallels. And that's the year that I know I have both Black Finites, because that was like a Hall of Fame type deal. But then 2020, he runs the entire gambit, I think, or is that Mosaic? And that's the other issue. I get Mosaic and Prism confused sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't have them in here either.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they both have silvers, basically, and that creates kind of the complexity, because they keep some consistency in some of the naming conventions. They'll borrow some here and there. I think, though, playing off Joey's point, though, I could totally see it being overwhelming and confusing, but my thought would be, if I was talking to a newer hobbyist, it'd be like, you don't need to collect it all. There could be 200 of them. Who cares? You don't need to have them all. Unless you're like a psychotic super collector that has to try to do it, well, then fine. You're a completist. Good luck to you. Then you need to know. But if you're not, find the one you like. The good news is you've got so many options. You can grab a handful that you enjoy, grab 3 or 4 of them, and then move on. Like, it's not a big deal.
I don't really, that's my first, I have like 2 rainbows from front, the whole complete rainbows. It's not one of my things that I collect exclusively. It's not my thing, but for what it takes for me to get a complete rainbow, I almost got to fall into the finite
Mm-hmm.
The fine, because otherwise I'm not going to try if I can't complete the whole thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think though that part of what overwhelms people in the hobby is that they feel like they have to. And my answer is no, you don't.
No.
Find stuff that interests you. If you want to collect a rainbow of something, well, then pick something you like and then go after it. But you don't have to. And the thing is, we lost perspective because it's been a long time since the original came out. But if anybody goes back in the archives, I think it was 97 or 98. I forget the year. Topps Tech. It was whatever the first year of Topps Tech was. It had 99 variants of the base card. Each base card had 99 variants with different patterns on the back. And then you had 99 diffractors of each one.
Yeah.
So that's 198 copies for one player. That's the high watermark. You can't beat it. 198 versions in 1 year in one set.
If you want to try that, be my guest. But
the point is, compared to that, I don't care.
It's me.
Yeah, compared to that, who cares? 40? Whatever. It's child's play.
Yeah. I mean, but some of them now are just like, people love rainbowing.
Yeah.
I'm more on the set side or player collector side.
The point is, though, that these companies came out. The advantage of being around a while is that you can remember something like that and be like, the reason why I'm still a player collector, but the reason I stopped the dream of completion ended with the 1 of 1. As soon as the 1 of 1 came into being, don't worry about it. It actually took the pressure off because you're like, you can't ever finish. It is not possible. So don't worry about it.
Unless you get the 1 of 1, then you can work backwards. That's the only way.
Yeah, but as soon as they came out with the second and the third and the 457th one, who cares? So it's like, you can get one. I've got dozens of 1 of 1s.
Yeah.
But there are hundreds. So it doesn't make any. I have more than most, but it doesn't make any difference. It's one of those deals.
It's hard for me when I have to get a 1 of 1, then I got to get like a 2 of, or I got to get something out of 3, then something out of 5. You're like, holy cripes, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I made fun of Leaf because one of the rainbows I did, they made 2 1 of 1s for the same card. One was the green, one was the gold, and the green was only available in Canadian boxes, which was with a U.S. seller. So what does that tell you? So it's like, now I got my hands on it, but I was really annoyed once I realized there was the green one because I had totally forgotten about it. I thought I was good. I was like, oh, I got the gold one, great. I got the 1 of 1, and then I saw there was a green one. I'm like, oh, come on. And then it showed up on ComC, and the guy didn't want to deal at all, and I ended up having to pay the price, but I got it done. But I'm like, all right, we're done with this. We're not doing this again. Not with two 1 of 1s. No, thank you.
Well, when it showed up, you were probably fine until it did show up. You're like, oh man.
No, I wasn't fine. The second I saw it, I cursed many words that I won't repeat. The moment I saw it, let alone in the process of buying it, that made me more irritated. And then I was like, all right, I will do this out of spite because I'm this close. That's the last one I need. I will finish this. But it's like, no, I have a healthy disdain for Leaf as a result of that junk.
Boy, Leaf certified with some good stuff. I mean, football wise, I like Leaf company for a lot of my stuff. But that sounds, if they ever did 2 1 of 1s for me, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, that's the current iteration of Leaf under Brian Gray. That's where they do that.
Look at die cut versions that are like the 15, like this. Or whatever that is, Dave. But
so 199. Then you got the camo.
Oh.
And again,
the camo's pretty though. I will say I do like the design on it, but it's one of those things where it just makes another variant, another variant, another variant.
And this, I don't even know if that's the target or not. It's the red, so could be. Then you've got this fun friend.
Oh.
Oh yes. The blue shimmer or whatever. I think
Yeah.
blue shimmer.
And
Yeah, I
what's
can't
that?
see the numbering, Dave. Is it like 1 of 5 or 1 of 1?
7 of 9.
Oh, 7 of 9. Okay.
That seems like one of those Tmall packs or whatever they have. I don't. Oh man, it's weird.
Those are at least cool looking. I do like the look of it.
The play on superfractors.
Mm-hmm.
They're my favorites.
And that's to 199.
Light blue. Those are. Yeah, but I think the one you showed was the retail red, and like I said, they really never give you a specific number.
Here's another.
It's like less than 20. That's the bronze first off the line. I know that one.
And that's like another one to 8 or
Or
4.
I
Or,
don't remember either, but I know it's the first off the line stuff.
One thing I'd like to see Panini borrow from, I'd love to see them borrow from Upper Deck because for the O-Pee-Chee Platinum, they've got a bunch of parallels for that one too. But they got into the habit a couple of years ago of labeling the back. So they would actually tell you what the parallel is called, which is which is like, thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Now I don't have to guess. What is this nonsense? Thank you. Just put it on the back of the damn card so I know what it is.
The name they call all of these, white sparkle, blue shimmer. Yeah, I mean, how many names?
I think a bunch of those are just made up at this point. It's like just random name generator.
Mojos and I don't know.
Yeah. But that's why I appreciate Upper Deck taking it upon themselves. They came up with the name, they slapped it on the back of the card. There you go. You flip it over, you know exactly what it is. That's what it's called. You're done.
Like Topps to say, at least it said on back of Topps cards, it said refractor or Bowman Chrome's refractor. You know, you could see, you could read it on the back. That was helpful.
Yeah, but they did that a little bit later on. That was before they didn't do it in the first iterations when they introduced refractors. The whole designator came later, but it was at least nice to know for sure. And then X-fractor, back when it was just refractor, X-fractor.
I think Aaron Rodgers has his rookies that say, I think that's 2005 then, so it says it back there, I believe.
It'll say it, yeah. On those ones it'll say it.
I'm trying to remember the years, but it wasn't a mystery. You're like, I don't know what this is. Is this supposed to be what? I missed that. As I'm to do all this research, is like you're like, oh man, now I gotta look it up. When we were doing this, we didn't have we had the internet, but there wasn't a whole lot of information on this stuff. You just had to kind of wait. You're waiting out. Like sometimes Upper Deck will post something. When it is, we don't know. And the contenders contenders never gave the print runs till later on either. I remember that.
Oh yeah, it was months.
Yeah, people are like, this might be a short print, and I'm gonna buy. They'll throw it on eBay. Possible short print. You're like, oh man,
Well now Upper Deck
dollars and ends up being not a short print. You're like, oh.
Now Upper Deck has gotten into the habit of that, and because I laughed when Billy was on Jeremy's show, he was talking about that. Now they do Easter eggs on purpose. They'll do like cards that are like variants or stuff that they'll just throw in there, but they won't say anything. It'll be like, you guys will find out. That's how in O-Pee-Chee I found out that they had the blank backs, and I was like, come on, guys, a blank back, really? That's the idiocy you're gonna sat them. I thought I was done. I grabbed all the different variants and whatever, and I'm like, blank backs, really? This is the trash you give me?
You know what busts my balls? I found some retail rate of 2021 Top Series 1's baseball, which I never opened. I just wanted to open something. It was just here. So I got a few things of that, and there's short prints in that. In my old eyes, I got to look on the back and see the different numbering on the back. I need a magnifying glass or a loop to see it. And I kind of have an idea this card might be a short print because of what photo it is, but good Lord, that seems it's like a lot more work. You got to go through the cards like 10 times. Just I don't know if this one is or not.
I do enjoy. I think this is where Topps is taking like a page out of my sadisticness. They do that. It's like, yeah, we'll label it. You can see the code. Make it font 4. Font 4, you jerks. It's like, guys, if you have space to put that, you could literally put super short print.
Yeah,
you could put SSP. You could literally wrote the letters. It'd be 3 letters instead of a code. You could put 3 letters.
Different. There's an SP.
I understand, but you could literally write that. And it wouldn't be that much. It would be simpler. It'd be so easy. You could literally just put, variant. Yep. SP variant, SSP variant. You're done.
Mine was easy. I pulled mine out of a hanger from Walgreens, and it was actually face different than everything else.
I think mine was 2 when I did see. I got a Clayton Kershaw and another guy. I can't remember, but I looked at the photo. I was like, this photo is weird. This might be one. I put it aside. I had to do that for the ones I thought. That the really SSSP ones they're usually with family or something. I remember that, but I mean, here's me. I have age of information on my phone. I'm like, I don't know. There's got to be a website, and there is. There's a site that you can look at every photo of every card and tell if it's an SP. I'm like, thank you. I mean, just, you know, but I mean, just for me looking at the backs of them, no, it's sadistic. It's very. I agree. It's like
On levels
Yeah,
I
'cause
do
I-
appreciate it. I just wish I'd thought of it.
Yeah, because I can't remember because last show we kind of maybe it wasn't last show, but shows are running together these days. But somebody had mentioned, you know, the 1, 2, 3 designator or whatever it is on the for tops to dictate whether or not it's a short print or a super short print.
Yeah, the
But
code.
I can't remember. Yep.
there's
Yeah, they do. Now the good news is now, like I said, tops at the bare minimum does at least now allow you to find the code, and with the code you can literally look at the card and see whether it's the variant. You'll see whether it's the SP or the SSP. You can just match the code. There you go. It is really small though. That is a fact. It would be nice if it was a little clearer, but it is labeled as opposed to before where they would just be like, yeah, just guess. Well, compare it to the regular base card. What if the only one you pull happens to be the SP or the SSP, and you're like, I don't know.
That means I got to go through all that crap again at a later time. Did I have that card? I don't remember. Christ, my memory's like a fish. It's very, very short. I mean, if it's not like in font that's 12 inches high, I'm not gonna remember. You know, if they don't tell me.
Well, even for like Heritage, what, last year or 2 years ago, they at least put on the back action. And I mean, big enough.
The word action. Yeah.
Or
Ones that were just different names on the front, I wouldn't notice that right away. You know, if it was like a different team, I wouldn't notice it right away. I'd be like, oh, flipping through, okay. I mean, it seems like to me, I'm like, oh man, is this really worth it going through these things again? But I guess I don't. For as much as I open, which is very little, I guess I can do that work for a little bit. But there's some people that are like, they gotta collect these SPs, and I gotta be able to find them. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, I guess I'm just spoiled nowadays. You know, where everything's numbered for the most part. In my football stuff, I mean, and if it's not, it's, you know, everyone kind of already knows what's going on, unless you're a newer collector. Lob Lewis.
Bob.
No, Lob.
Oh, I was expecting it to say chair.
yeah,
Well, we're used to
Get the night
disappointment
off.
there with Bob anyway.
I know he's got the night off. He said he didn't want to have to carry the stream, so he just kind of went and did his own thing because that's kind of egomaniac he is.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Jerk to me.
So then you're sitting on stool. So now we can introduce stool to the broadcast.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Now we've got stool.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
don't-
can't sit directly on the stool.
For a
I
good
need
long
a
time.
pillow.
Not, no thanks. I mean, my office chair.
So I'm looking for something.
Of course you are, Bob.
Your marbles, your sanity, your dignity, all of the above.
Look, I found some beat up 90. What is it? 90 some hoops, whatever. That the Mark Jackson, and
Oh, with the Menendez.
yeah, I'm sure I have the. Isn't it something like Vincent, where Jordan's wearing a different number? That card is like going crazy because Jordan,
Oh, the number 12 that he's wearing.
because he
it's like Sam Vin. No, that's
his jersey.
Somebody stole his jersey. Yeah.
yeah, in Orlando or whatever it was.
I found the whole set of this. So I found all these like Michael Jordan. I'm like, oh, I just had it sit in a box for what? 30 years. They're not in the greatest shape, or I'll just pull them out of there. I'm like, oh, this set's worth nothing other than for the few cards that are in there.
Yeah. So Mike, in the community, people often do like rummage videos. You know, I've been known to do one or two myself. So, and they're fun, man, because like seriously, Well, for me, a lot of the stuff, 99% of it's coming from packs, from, and you get it, you sleeve up some rookies, this and that, and then just kind of put stuff in a box. And if it's enough of it, you just have a big box of stuff that you open at a certain point. And it's fun to go back and look through some of that. Some of the, if it's an update or, it was fun going back looking for like Randy at Rosarina rookies last year after he made a name for himself in the World Series. I kind of enjoy that stuff. So I just kind of did the same thing a little bit ago. And you find like, second year, like cup cards of Acuna, pink refractors, and nothing like earth shattering like Prism Pat Mahomes rookies, but
I did my first Pat Mahomes rookie sitting in a box. It was the bold on the front though. It wasn't when I bought my Prism boxes. I bought them that year. I don't know, 80, 90, $100 a box. I bought like 2 of them.
Yeah, when they were normal.
I sold a lot of that stuff for nothing, but for all the bad things that I've sold too early, I've done a million good things and sold during this last year. I found in my rummage, like you talk about rummages, I found Bowman Chrome Calvin Johnson rookie refractor.
Wow.
That's nice, and before he went in the Hall of Fame, I have it sent out to PSA. I might get it back by the time I go in my casket. I don't know. I mean, now
at their rate, who knows?
Yeah.
PSA, but when I sent it out to PSA, maybe $50-$60 card. Now if it gem 10s, it's like $600-$700. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I went through rummaging, like you said, Bob. I did a Devontae Adams rummage, and I found Prism rookies. Like I have like 5 of them, and Topps Chrome rookies, Topps Chrome rookie refractors. But I don't really open a lot of products, so mine kind of just generalizes to what I kept.
You missed out on a chance, Bob. You could have been doing shadow puppets back there. That was like your moment. You had it right there. Like I saw the shadow going. It's like, Bob, this was your shot. You could have done it.
So, who's got time to explore with camera angles and lighting and all that?
You literally could have left the camera where it was. The shadow was going. It was showing in the background.
The light on?
Wait, the moment you switched to the light, you actually had the shadow going. See, now I set him off on wild chase. See, Dave, you got to take control of your podcast, Dave. Like, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it for you. I'll entertain us. See? I told you.
That's entertaining.
That's why we enjoy having you on.
I try what I can, guys.
I didn't love kind of animal.
F you too, Bob.
Yeah.
If it gets real, if the stream gets real, whatever, we can do the shadow puppets.
Nice. I just thought I would introduce another aspect to the show. So there's another dimension of Bob Lewis that we can add to it.
So many like very shallow dimensions. Yes.
I agree.
I enjoyed the take on PSA. I think it's a good thing, and just be very generic. I'm glad I got mine in time. I didn't have anything else really lined up to send out. That pretty much going to wipe me out for grading costs for a while. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be the answer to catch back up? They're going to.
11.
I wonder why. I wonder why July is there, like. Why they think they can have it like at least sorted out by July enough that they can open up all the like memberships again, all the different levels.
The thing is, Steve pointed out, as he said correctly, the date on the calendar works for I think it was the beginning of third quarter, beginning of Q3, yeah, for a lot of places. So that's not a bad reason. But the other one is you don't want to keep the doors shut forever. but it does
Sure.
allow you then to use all your resources, because you're not accepting submissions, but you're saying like, no, send us your serious stuff.
You're going to pay
Like,
for it, right?
Bring your real stuff here. Like, we're talking
Yeah.
Jordan rookies, we're talking Manels, like bring the heavy hitters here, and then we'll still take them, and they're going to get run through the process quickly anyway. They come in,
Yeah.
we're going to look at them for a couple of hours and send them right back out. So that stuff isn't going to be a big deal. It's we don't want your $5 Prism rookies. And so,
Which is,
folks,
and I forget who brought that point up of like making
Yeah.
the announcement before the release of Prism
yeah,
Master.
and that might not have been. Don't put it past them that they sat there and going like, so you know what's coming up on the calendar, right? We don't want LaMelo base cards. So what can we do? Yeah, let HGA take care of that. They're not going to be able to, but let them try. It'll be funny.
For basketball, I'm not as in tune as into basketball. Isn't this draft class like crappy compared to the last one? Like really?
Comparatively, yes.
So people are still crazy about putting. I wouldn't be. I'm like, I don't know, unless
PSA is getting 500,000 cards per week.
I heard it's 11 million card backlog, but that's from hearing from that's line stuff. I don't really know.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, they said they're getting now, up until obviously just now, they were getting 500,000 cards in per week.
I've had stuff out since August.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
here's the thing with that. I had a 20-day order that's still not graded. It's in level 4. But
That's 20 days in leap year days. It's only we only count February 29th.
but my bulk order went in the PSA at the same time. These two orders.
Yeah, the bulk order go through a submitter, go through a bulk submitter.
My bulk order came back same. I went through the same person. The 20-day is still in level 4. The bulk order got done a month ago. So,
Wow.
I don't know. I just throw up my hands. I'm like, really? So the two really expensive cards that I had put in are taking longer than the $30, $40, $50 cards I put in. Okay. Whatever.
So
Yeah.
6 to 8 months, though, that's about the typical turnaround for anything that was submitted last year.
I was more. You like the classic line from Christmas Vacation. I wouldn't be more surprised if my head was sewn to the carpet when that order came through. I wouldn't be. I was just like, really, that one's first? Okay, whatever. I mean, but here's the thing: if you can't have patience, then you shouldn't grade. Sell raw. It's not worth it. You'll give yourself a heart attack or an aneurysm before they even come back. I don't sit there and check when these things are done. Every week I'll take a look. Oh, it hasn't moved. Okay.
They'll email you when it's ready. Like I don't check PSA's website, right?
So he'll tell me whenever it's done. You guys know, right? Bob, you know Manny. Dave.
I know Manny.
Yeah.
He doesn't know me.
He doesn't.
Someone doesn't know you, Bob?
Right.
What the heck? Did you tell him you were a Hall of Famer?
We did meet at the National, but I think he was preoccupied, and I wasn't a Hall of Famer yet. So
I see.
I'm
So you were still making videos at that time before you gave it up.
Right.
Hey, he's actually, this is a video if you think about it, because you can go back and watch
Don't give him an out. Do not give him an out. Stop it. Stop right there.
the video.
Do not give this man an out.
Yeah, I need no outs. I take them all myself.
Allegedly.
I'm like, so it's baseball season, and
A couple of days till opening day. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I watched my fair share of like, okay, what to maybe look forward to this year as far as
Nothing to look forward to. The Tigers, they're going to be and
well, just players in general, players to collect. Who the breakout rookie's going to be? Nobody knows, but it's fun to talk about.
Sure.
And but then they're inevitably the conversation of, well, if it's not this year, next year, Wander Franco, one of these guys. But I hear this name JJ Bleday tossed around, and I know I pulled a first like an auto of him somewhere, and that's what sparked this rummage. I can't find it anywhere, so but I've only looked in like 8 boxes.
Is Odell even going to be on the team this year? I heard one of those top guys and who wasn't going to be on the team. Maybe Joey Bart.
Yeah, he can't hit apparently off-speed stuff. Joe Adele.
Well, Torkelson, number 1 draft pick, has an 0.42 batting average in spring training. I guess I don't think he's going to be showing up for a while. I'm praying to God we have some hitters at one point, but not to me this year or next year.
Pirates could have a record-breaking season.
In losses?
Yes.
Maybe
you'd have to contend with the Rangers first.
You
I
think
don't know, man.
I believe in the Pirates. I think you can go into negatives. I think you could actually. It's like, you know what? I'm actually going to take away a win. We don't have a win. I'm still taking one away.
that like going so fast we go back in time? I don't know. I don't know if it can happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. I'm. This is it's going to be like a few years of trial and error, but mostly error.
I couldn't even name a pirate right now. If that's, and I'm a baseball.
Right.
You mean a current Pirate? Because I got Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell. If we stick to the past, we're fine. Bobby Bonilla was great.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds had a good run with them.
Dave Parker.
Yep.
People are pretty pumped about Brian Hayes and the potential there, but if it's also the cynical Pirate fan to just be like, well, as soon as he gets good, he will no longer be a Pirate. I mean, he turned down the deal that they offered him, just kind of.
He went from
which is smart to do.
Also outfield like McCutchen, Polanco, and Marte, and where are they now? They're not a Pirate anymore, right? Polanco's still there. I think he's gone, right?
Polanco is there. He batted 147 last year.
With no one around him, I can see that happening. Yeah.
It's he is the proverbial this is going to be his year guy.
Every team has one. Yep.
Since 2016, I think.
I've always had high hopes for him. I'm like, when the Pirates had a good team around him, I thought he's going to be just fine. He'll bat out of the 5th or 6th hole. It'll be great. And he always disappointed.
Carlos, who's your baseball team up there? You like the Jays, or is that?
Yeah. No. I'm a Jays fan, but it's one of those things where I have a lot of fun because in the same vein that I'll dissect anything else, I'll have fun with Jays fans where I'll point out, I was like, you realize our franchise is shit, right? And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, if you actually break it down, like, and I have fun with them. I go, the team started in 1977, they're an expansion franchise. First winning season, 1983, the year I'm born. So here's my lifespan. They start getting good in 83. They start getting better through the 80s. They have a couple of good runs. Into the late 80s, they start becoming contenders. Awesome. Great. Into the early 90s. They win 2 World Series, 92, 93. That's fantastic. Baseball strike. If I really want to stretch this as far as I can say from 83, the last decent team, sort of, 98, because they at least had Clemens, they had Canseco. They were a good team, but they were third because the Yankees won 116 games, and that they really weren't in contention. But they were a good team. They were still a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So if I stretch it, I can say from around 83, most likely the late 80s, till 98 was their contention window. After that, from 93 on, I was 9 years old I was 10 years old when they won the World Series in 93. I didn't see them make the playoffs until I was 32.
Wow.
Yeah.
I lived my entire lifespan, finished high school, finished university, went to work, bought a condo, and then they made the playoffs. And when they actually made the playoffs, they had postseason hats, and I was like, "This team's so bad, I'm gonna buy the stupid postseason hat." I'm like, "You actually made the playoffs! Oh my god!"
What about the Expos fans? What did they do? Did they follow the team, most of them, or did they just say
the Expos fans were fine until '94 happened? The problem is that team was always and also ran. They had their runs where they were good. In '81, they had the wonkiness with with having a strike there. It didn't end the season, but it created like this half season thing. The '81 team was actually pretty good, and then they ran into Blue Monday, the thing with the Dodgers, and that was a good team. And then the '94 team was actually really, really good. They were the best team in baseball when the strike happened, and that put the kibosh on it. And then immediately they started dumping off their players. So they had a team with Larry Walker and Pedro Martinez. That team was really good.
They're like the Marlins do that when as soon as they win a World Series.
Yeah, the problem is the Expos didn't get the World Series. They're sitting there like, we didn't get the World Series part. We would have taken the World Series. At least give us that.
Yeah,
And then you can dump them off, but at least give us the first part.
the Marlins did. I think they did that twice, didn't they? They're just like, we win.
Yeah. 97 and 2003. It was the two most random World Series I can remember. I'm like, how did you guys even get back here? And then you win again? What the heck?
That was the joke last year when the Marlins were in it. Every year the Marlins make the playoffs, they win the World Series.
Yeah, and they had a real shot. Oh, yeah, and Paul says
Right?
Moises Alou. The thing was, that team was legitimately
Marquise
good.
Grissom.
There were a lot of that 94 team was legitimately very good. Was a very good team. And they probably would have had a real shot had they had a playoffs to have. It was like the worst timing ever. You put together like I said, I named off two guys that are in the Hall of Fame. Larry Walker and Pedro were both on that team. Moises Alou was an excellent player in his day. He was a very good player. And he would go on. I think Moises Alou was on the 97 Marlins. I think he was on that team. So they had great team. So it's one of those things for most of my lifetime, I got the two Jays World Series fairly early on, and the team was good fairly early on. And then years of the problem with the Jays is they were never like the Pirates in the sense that they were never rock bottom. They were just consistently mediocre. They were just always in third place. They'd be better than the couple of teams in the division, but they would never compete for the top of the division. So it'd be like every year, it'd be like, so what do you think the Jays are going to do? Third place, between 75 and 85 wins. And year after year, it was true. So we'd never be bad enough to get a good draft pick, and we'd never really be in contention, and they'd be basically out of it by late August. It was just year after. So I'd go to hundreds of games at the Dome. I went literally to hundreds of games, and I basically, it's like, all right, I'm going to enjoy the games. I'm going to watch the team because I love baseball. So I'm going to go and watch the games. So I'm sitting there. It's like, what do I got? It's like, I'll take what I got. All right, go Jose Cruz Jr. Yeah. Go Luke Prokopek for 5 minutes. That'll be funny. Luke Prokopek. I believe in you.
Delgado.
No, Delgado was great. Delgado was legitimately a great hitter. So I took enjoyment from what I could from what was on the field. Yeah. Even when Raul Mondesi was there, it's like, you know what? Raul Mondesi isn't a superstar, but he was a good player for the Jays. So I enjoyed it. You know what? I don't care. Go Raul Mondesi.
So star power wise in the last, was Bautista was he the guy for a while?
Bautista had a run where he was a great hitter. Here's what I would say. The frustration with the Jays is what I said. They were consistently mediocre. There was a point in time where they had a roster with Carlos Delgado, who in the long run, when the Veterans Committee gets to look at him again, he could very well be a Hall of Famer because they'll have to take a look at him again because he had the hip injury at 36 and he's sitting on 470 home runs and 1,500 RBIs. And he was a guy, and he was runner-up in the 2003 MVP race to steroid A-Rod. So it's like he was one of the best hitters in the league but the problem is he was a first baseman. So like, he never made first. He was a first baseman in the American League.
In the American League, right?
Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're not going to be you're not going to be the All-Star. It's not going to happen. And you're playing in Toronto. No one's looking at you.
Not if you're a Blue Jay when they go get a Yankee first baseman.
Yeah. So he'll go hit 100. He'll go hit 40 home runs, have 130 RBIs, and hit 300, and no one will even look at him. And he'll just do it again. But that team had him. Sean Green was a 30-30 hitter while he was there. Name. Those were two great players. Damn. Jose Cruz Jr. was very serviceable for the time they had him there, and they had Roy Halladay for a chunk of time, and they couldn't put together anything. So it's like, it's not like they didn't have players. It's just when the pitching was good, the hitting was kind of okay. When the hitting was good, the pitching was like, well, we got Roy Halladay, but that's all you got. You don't have he only pitches once every 5 days. You need other pitchers.
At least you got a World Series I had a World Series when I was 6. The Tigers have been back, but when they did go back, they get blown out by some NL team. Like the Cardinals just killed them. The only game I think they won was the cheating Kenny Rogers game that he had doctored the ball or whatever it was. That was never. No one ever says anything about that, but it definitely happened.
I've never had one, so I don't want to hear it.
Like I said, I was 6.
You had chances, Steve. 2011 was the best one. 2011 was easily the best one. Like,
damn, Nelson
you're
Cruz.
You're 3/4 of the way there. You're like really just finish the job. You're right there.
That's why I hate Nelson Cruz. Yes,
he's from Texas, so yeah.
I remember
Houston doesn't count.
Yeah.
The Brewers' ultimate collapse, where they had this big lead. I remember that. What year was that? That was like 4, 5, 6 years ago. They had this big lead, and they just the last month of the season, they didn't win a thing. And I'm so close to way more closer to the Brewers than I am the Tigers, because I live right on the border of the Upper Peninsula. But the Tigers, Tiger fans up here, great, but Brewer fans kind of were the fans like, oh, we're gonna do so good this year, and then when they start doing good, they have like Carlos Gomez, and then you're like, oh, and they they went and got a bunch of guys, paid a bunch of guys, and finally got further. But geez, they had CC Sabathia and stuff like that. But I remember that one team where they just collapsed, and I couldn't remember. They were in the lead of the division and they lost it. Who's that?
Ryan Braun.
Didn't he just retire?
Basically,
he just retired, but he wants to be a consultant or something. I don't remember what he said. I had no idea.
he wants to be the nutrition specialist.
Oh,
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Where do you get your roids from?
Pretty much.
Listen, you make fun, but there is a future for several Houston Astros at some point to be, garbage can consultants.
We have
I would agree.
Yeah. No, they can be sound engineers. It's like, yeah, we know how to get the right sound out of, say, a trash can.
That's who our manager is now. The manager of the Astros cheating team. Great. Thank God. I'm so happy to be a Tiger fan today.
I will say that hurt because being in Texas, I've seen some Houston games and rooted for Houston early on, and I was excited for him until all the crap came out, and I'm like, man, that's some crap.
Because Houston had that long history, and then when they won the world, because it's baseball, it's fun. If your team can't win, it's interesting when you get a team that either has a long drought or has never won. And it's interesting when they make a run and get there, because then the fan base has never seen it before, or they haven't seen it in a long time, in a generation. So it's one of those things, you'll see it sometimes, and it's interesting.
It's electric. So it's like, yeah, the Brewers had good teams here, and it was amazing to be living around the area with Brewer fans around, because they just didn't. It's like when the Cubs went. I remember I went to a Cubs Tigers game a few times at Wrigley. Cubs fans don't watch the game at all. Not when they're because they know they were like the doormats. And this is years ago. Here's me with my father trying to watch a Tigers game. There's people all around us not watching the game at all. They're talking about with it. If you want to go talk with your friends, you can go to someone's house, but they're just sitting here not even paying attention. I guess I'm a little disingenuous, because to me, going to a baseball game is special, because I don't live in that city. I don't live even close near a baseball stadium. So when I go, my attention is fully on the game. I want to be there for the game. And I guess they just, I'm like, you don't even know what you have here, and you get to experience anytime you want. I guess I'm just a little jealous of that. I mean, when I go to a game, I'm ready to be there. I'm ready to watch baseball live, which is a totally different story than watching it on television. It's a totally opposite.
Well, it was. I will say, as the years went by and I was watching a lot of those games, slowly the in-game experience morphed into feeling like television, because they would throw the commercials up on the Jumbotron. I'm like, really, guys?
Oh,
it's like, you're killing me. And they would blare it. It's like, okay, so I get the experience of getting to pay for the privilege of you showing me commercials.
yeah.
It's like, at least in my house, I can mute this and go get a snack that won't cost me $35. Do you mind? Can I get the control of the remote and maybe put something on while the commercial's happening? Can I do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to go ahead, Joey.
The new Twin Stadium, compared to the old Metrodome, and Dave probably has been to both of those. Talk about night and day. The experience of going to the old Metrodome to the experience of their new, I don't know I forget what the name of the ballpark is now, but that old Metrodome.
It was Target Field for a bit. Did they change it again? Still Target?
Target Field, yes.
Gotcha. Target Field.
Target Boutique.
Nice,
Target Boutique. Yep.
Nice.
That new stadium is incredible. It is very awesome. But the old Metrodome, it's like a wind tunnel when I went there. When you walked into the doors of you're like, Jesus, like you're going against 40 miles per hour winds, just trying to. I don't know how it generated gusts coming out the corridors, but that's the way it was. And here's the other thing I wanted to say: Wrigley Field is a piece of crap. It is garbage. I don't know. Yes, it's iconic because it's old, and that's it. I think it's garbage. I went to
Can we put a quote on there? It's like, it's iconic because it's old, guys. Because it's old.
It's when I went there was pee troughs still. You had to go to the bathroom. Like the old Packers Stadium, we used to have them too. But when I walked into Wrigley Field thinking, oh, I'm going to be in the holy grail of baseball stadium.
It's still in Chicago. Settle down, sir. Settle down. It's still nothing changes the fact it's in Chicago. Calm down.
My expectations of seeing Wrigley on TV and actually being there, I'm like, man, this is a pile of crap.
Look, you don't have this problem with a lot of other places. Like if you go to Detroit, you've got Comerica, which is a nice ballpark, and then you got Ford Field, which is a nice, but it's still Detroit. As soon as you walk outside, it's the ruins. Like it doesn't matter. Like it still is what it is. It doesn't change where you are.
You're like, man, I am so out of place when we go to these baseball stadiums because I'm like, gee, I'm small town, very small town. I'm like, there's people stacked on people here. This is not my style, you know. I don't know.
It doesn't change anything. That's what makes the joy of it. At Ford Field, one of my greatest joy was having the locals try to like chirp me while I was wearing Packer gear and everything. And I go, listen, when I leave here, it's like first of all, the Packers are going to win this game. But secondly, then when I leave, you still live in Detroit. There's no comeback. There's nothing. It's like, go look outside. Let me go take a picture for you. You still live here. I get to leave.
Now it's Ford Field, but the old what was the old stadium called in Pontiac?
Silverdome.
The Silverdome. What a piece of crap that was. They needed a new stadium. I walked into that place. And it was raining that day, and we went into the Silverdome, and the rain was hitting so hard off the dome that was like dust was falling from it and onto the people underneath. And we were just like, "When is it snowing in here?"
Now, Dave, I was going to ask you if I think the Metrodome's still there. I think for the Vikings, right?
I think they
Nope.
tore it down now.
No, they swapped. Oh, that's right. They swapped out the stadium. Sorry, I forgot. So is the Metrodome like still there, or did they implode it?
The new stadium's right where the Metrodome was. They blew it
Okay,
up.
so they did implode it and they
So
demoed it.
they played.
Did
at
they
the-
do like some stadiums and things they like sell off like the seats, like old Maple Leaf Gardens? They would sell off the seats. So did you guys hit like garbage bags because that'd be hilarious? It's like, guys, this is the garbage bag from the center field. Like it's the real deal. Look, it's glad and everything.
That's
I think they did because I know they did the seats. I don't think they took the one where Puckett hit the home run in
Right.
91, but seats, the AstroTurf, because I've got a chunk of the AstroTurf somewhere.
Okay.
And then I know they did the baggy too.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what's great about that stadium. It's like, so did you guys get like, guys, this is straight from the stadium. It's like, it's a garbage bag. No, it's like, it's from the stadium. You don't understand.
I hated that thing. You know how many people had trouble trying to catch fly balls in that goddamn stadium because it's a fucking white bag in the outfield? Excuse my language, but I was just like, this is garbage in here. I couldn't believe it. I hated that place. I'm like, well, let's go somewhere local. We can watch the Tigers because Tigers are actually farther away than Minnesota is for me. And old stadiums are crap. Quote me on that. I don't know. It's just that I guess the ones that I went to were just not. They didn't seem iconic to me at all.
Dave, I appreciate you bringing in the special effects for that one. That was some primo work by you. That was some primo work, and on a cell phone, no less. Like that required some extra work on Dave's part to pull that off. Very nicely done, sir.
Minnesota, the only reason why they got rid of the Metrodome because it imploded on itself. Otherwise, they would still be playing that piece of junk. Oh,
Probably.
My favorite one where we got to make fun of the stadium was Olympic Stadium in Montreal, where the Expos did play. It was a piece of junk. It was a piece of junk when they built it. It only took them like 35 years to pay it off. It only ran like a couple of $1 billion over budget. They built it for the Olympics, and they're like, well, we got to use it for something. Give it to the baseball team. Isn't it kind of a shit stadium? Give it to the baseball team. Something. I don't care. Just go. And then like pieces of it would like fall sporadically every couple of years and be like, does it concern you that a chunk of the stadium just fell? No, it's fine. He's like, we paid how many billions of dollars for this? Shut up. Just like duct tape it back.
See,
Just put it back.
when Milwaukee County Stadium, when they replaced it, never thought that was a bad ballpark. I didn't think the old Tiger Stadium was a bad ballpark. It was in a shitty area, but
So it's in Detroit, you say?
it was Detroit.
Like, this is too easy. Dave's like covering his face. He's like, you're making this easy for me.
When I went to the old Tiger Stadium, what I remember as a kid is that it really wasn't a parking lot. It was you were parking in fields around the stadium. It was weird. I don't know.
The quote you want, Dave, is, it's a shitty area, Carlos, so it's Detroit. That's the quote.
I mean, for being a small town guy, any big city is kind of a shitty area to me. I'm not a big town kind of person at all. But that's the things I remember. I'm like, the old Tiger Stadium, for being as old, and it was really, really large. You really had to poke one to get one out. Same with the old Milwaukee County Stadium. You really had to poke one to get one out of there. But I didn't feel those were bad stadiums. But yeah,
We've got a nice one.
like
PNC
Milwaukee
Park's
County
a
Stadium,
nice
I
one.
think it wasn't a bad stadium at all.
Well, you need some kind of a redeeming quality, Bob. You need
Right.
something. Like, all right, so the industry's
was 5
gone,
years
the
ago.
team's terrible, and they've got no hope. But our stadium's nice, guys.
Oh, yeah,
Guys,
American
stadium's nice. Yeah, we got this.
And they have a free T-shirt Fridays.
Oh my God! Everyone,
and,
hop on the bus. We're going to Pittsburgh.
Do they have
Bobblehead the last Sunday of every month. I mean,
They should just
exclusive
hire
to
you
the
to
ballpark.
promote. It's like, guys, the team's shit, but let me tell you, straight from
Yeah,
Bob
I-
Lewis.
As he's wearing a Tampa Bay hat.
Any piece of media, they're gonna put Key Brian Hayes' face on it. Anything that they can, any and everything that they can, and they should, because that's about all they got going right now. I couldn't name a starting pitcher, to be honest.
We got a couple now, but even Derek Holland made our team. Woo.
Derek Holland was on our team,
Bad year.
so he went from the Pirates to
Yeah, we
maybe
got.
we're not so bad.
So we took your crap. That's how bad our team is.
Yeah.
No, you started
okay.
off by taking the Rangers crap.
Oh, we had a few Rangers in the past few years. Yeah,
It's the circle of life.
you got to put that crap somewhere. You might as well be in Detroit. Figures.
It goes with the territory.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
Sorry, Benny.
light at the end of the tunnel for the Detroit fans. We've been having there's a catcher that they drafted, I think, last year. Like, there's some good pitching. I don't know. Eventually, not gonna be for a while though. I'd still we're gonna be in rebuild mode for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't think we're gonna be like
6, 7, 8.
maybe
40.
for the last 3, and it's killing me. But as a fan, I know there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. But I mean, unless they really screw it up in Detroit. But
That in literary terms is called foreshadowing.
One, I do like that the Pirates are completely, everything, revamped, new GM, kind of clean house in that regard. So at least I can like trick myself into thinking like, okay, it's all new people, so it will just take longer to screw up, or we'll have like signs of some success. See, it doesn't feel like it's been all that long, because 13, 14, and 15, when we were winning. We don't. In 15, we won 98 games, so we're not that far removed from like success.
In 2016, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. You wouldn't know that, but they did.
Yeah.
It happened, I swear.
Didn't the Royals do it too recently?
The Royals won in 2015,
Wow.
and they went twice. That was their second trip. They also got to the World Series in 2014.
the
It
White,
happened.
So
so
was Whit Merrifield on that team? at the time?
I don't think
Lord
so.
knows.
Yeah.
He's one of those underrated. I really like Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, if he was a Yankee, everybody would know the name Whit Merrifield.
Well, of course they would, but I mean, I've seen him play against the Tigers so many times that you know that guy has got really good. I think he is at least, but
I would agree.
As I alluded to earlier, coming from the guy talking about one team wearing a Tampa Bay hat.
Hey man, this is my American League team.
Is that how we're gonna do this?
we collect.
And I have a man crush on Austin Meadows, so
Well, that is true. That does check out. That is accurate.
So am I allowed to own a card?
There's
a sports card from a different team or not? I don't know.
No, it's not allowed.
I guess
We just like to give Bob crap. That's only the gist behind it.
I gotta sell my Mahomes real quick then because I don't like him.
I don't like him either.
I mean,
I like to sell him.
I do. I mean, and
That's
people
true.
know
That's accurate.
when I say, well, I got this stuff that's PSA, I got to sell this crap. And I really don't care about it. I don't. I care that it's going to give me money. But as far as the card, I don't want it. You know, I'm like, oh, someone else can enjoy it, not me.
Are you going to look back, though, a year from now to see how much it's going for?
No, I don't have any regrets of selling. You know, if you did that,
that's the key. No regrets.
You'd go crazy if you wouldn't look back on everything that you sold that you didn't make the top money on. No way am I going to put myself through that anguish. You're like,
Nice.
oh, I remember selling that. Oh, well, I got my money out of it.
Oh, if that was the case, I'd be regretting everything I've sold. And then some.
Yeah.
Just before the card market went crazy, maybe a year and a half before that, I took all my childhood cards and sold 80% of them. And
Wow.
I got pennies on the dollar what they would be now. I'm not like freaking out or anything. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I mean, bad timing, I guess. Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, what did you have? They're childhood cards, so it's like tough to have the part of the equation of like what you have into it. That's kind of like my thing. Like some of these I've just had sitting around forever. There's no real way to attach like a starting point to it. So we make it zero.
Right.
So anything I get for it is a win.
Oh, look at you, Dave, with the duel.
In that part of my collection.
Anything in particular that inspired that set of cards there, Dave? Just so happen to be grabbing a bunch of Medanos? By the way, my tracking shows that a package arrived in Minnesota. So did you end up getting it? Yeah, I figured.
Yes, there's something in there for me.
Yeah.
Make sure it comes my way, please.
There is. You have to read the note. The information is all contained therein, Dave.
Oh, so we're gonna get it live.
I was gonna say.
Oh boy,
This is happening.
I'm intrigued. I am.
Vinny and the only regrets. So you have no regrets? Not even a single letter?
I think I'm going to give Vinny credit because there was the old meme that somebody wrote that had no regrets
On
as
their
a tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, it's from a movie though too.
Yeah. But we know that somebody did that. We know that somebody did that.
We're the Millers.
There you go.
Bits and pieces.
I will say I like the duel that he showed though. It's pretty good. Now figure out which parallel that is. I have to go look it up. I know which one it is. I think I wrote it in the note. I might have.
So read the note first, Dave.
I did. I read it
for the rest of the audience, so we can get the Carlosness.
Well, I was gonna say that's probably not how the English language works, but yes.
You did. Figured you could use a shiny Soto. Who doesn't?
Correct.
And a Sakic for one of your 87 million player PCs you have.
Might have gone up since then.
Probably. As you were writing it, it probably went up.
Yeah, it increased. It's like inflation.
Yeah, the national debt.
You have to send a running ticker when you like use that.
Yeah. But at the time I wrote it, it was accurate. But by the time I finished writing the word, it was no longer accurate.
Right.
Which is true. As a little bonus, of course, I tossed in the key card for YouTube creators who refer to themselves in the third person
Yeah, not you, Bob.
for a reason. One for you and one for the hockey oracle. Should you be willing to part with such a grail?
I have to include it in there because I don't know if it'll make it there, Steve. I did leave instructions to pass it along.
Dave still has a bunch of stuff that he's still sitting on that's supposed to be coming this way to Texas at some point too.
Yeah.
The important point is that in the note, I did leave instructions to pass it along. That's the important part.
Thanks for helping to keep the YouTube and collecting game entertaining. Unlike other things that are going on, possibly, maybe, allegedly at this possible time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So,
and handwritten, and you get the handwritten note. That's right.
Oh, handwritten.
so there is
No, we handwrite the notes, Bob. We handwrite the notes.
Okay.
Good old-fashioned cursive still lives in this side of the world.
Cursive is not. Oh, it does?
It does for me.
Here anymore. They just.
I'll save the joke for later. Please continue.
It's Prism. I don't know if was that an aqua or is that a rainbow?
So it is like, I think Cosmic is basically the name of it. I remember that I had to look it up a couple of times, and it's very annoying how many versions they came up with. But it's a pretty card though. I do enjoy the design on it. It's actually a very pretty card.
And this was from your ComC order, I think.
That's right.
Choice reserve?
Prime choice reserve.
Prime choice reserve.
Shit, yeah. Don't
Nice.
worry, regular choice preserve.
That'd be none of that. That'd be none of that commoner nonsense. Prime choice reserve. That's how we do it.
In the grail.
It's true. Sign on the back, both of them, so it's covered. There you go.
Score.
So I'll put that, Steve, in your pile of Reese's Pumpkins, Reese's Christmas trees, Reese's Hearts, and Reese's Easter eggs.
Someone likes Reese's?
And my gummy bears? Do you
And your
include my
gummy
gummy bears?
Nice.
Gummy bears.
Nice.
And you're expecting that to go through the mail? You.
Oh, well.
On a future video, Joey would be like, I got this package. I don't know what happened. So I'd like to show you guys some gummy bears, some Reese's, some Reese's, some Reese's. It's like, how did you, it wasn't even sent. Like, I know a guy.
That's no different than Bob's PSA order showing up on your doorstep after being
Allegedly. Soon.
Oh.
No, Vinny, I actually probably could have, to be honest with you. But the thing with fountain pen ink is it's water-based. So I don't know if it would really go well on cardboard.
It wouldn't make it to the post office. You know it's going to get wet somehow.
That's
true.
But that's why
you don't want
Dave
to use
has
water-based ink.
We get every
Good.
story in the post office of things. Now, I can give my own stories and stuff. I had to deliver a letter 8 years after it was mailed because it was found in the distribution plant. There was a check in there for a granite company that I was delivering to at the time. I'm like, here, postmarked 8 years ago. I put it on their desk. Boy, did I get a look.
So for you, Vinny, with a card, because Topps makes those. So if you're gonna get a card in there, you gotta go old school, go Sharpie, good old fashioned Sharpie. I got a box of them, so I just grab one there, and that's what you use. It makes the most sense.
So was the note signed with the Pelican though?
No, the note was written with ballpoint pen. I could have that one I probably could have written with the Pelican. Next time, if I send one your way, Steve, you'll get the one written with the Pelican. There you go.
At the rate that Dave's going,
I was gonna say I might have to send you one and be like, in lieu of Dave's package that may never arrive, here is another copy of the card.
Pony Express.
which also means that you haven't gotten anything from Dave either included in the stuff that I sent to him.
Stuff only comes in. to Ely, Minnesota. Nothing goes out except kidneys, allegedly.
So if it's or your stuff, Dave, sorry, you only can get stuff. They just said they can cut them off. You're sending out too much stuff, Dave. Stop it.
It's the black hole.
Well, you know, I like I said, I've never seen your total storage of cards, but I would probably be in very much awe of it. I know that.
Well,
You have 2 houses now or 3?
7.
7. That's with the 5 new PCs that you just started in the last 5 minutes. Okay.
5.
The thing is though that all the houses are like identical. So when you see him, he could be any one of the 5.
Oh.
You actually don't know. The staircases are all identical. He had them made up exactly the same.
I'm just guessing that your house is like 5 stories tall, you know, basement filled with boxes. That's all every time I see it.
Well, that thing isn't his house. That's a sound studio.
Oh no.
He just does this for the streams. Like that isn't real. That if he knocks hard enough in the back, it falls over.
A stand up, a cutout.
See it. You telling me you got a brand new green screen? So what's the deal?
No, I don't have a green screen. That's just usually grass that's back there.
Okay.
Could you imagine if the man does all this on a cell phone, but he still had a green screen? Yeah. That would be like it would play right into what I said earlier. So the man can't get a computer or a laptop, but let me tell you, he can rebuild a Tesla engine like nobody's business.
And then people are like, "Is he pulling my chain?"
Is he though? Is he?
Like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Correct. Well, this podcast has already demonstrated a lot of
3
production value. Per the owl. That's correct.
From Lob Lewis.
True.
I'm just crushing it with input tonight. I know.
I thought this was your best performance on the stream so far.
Less is more sometimes.
Well, if the only way it could have been better is if Chair had just taken over, but outside of that, it was pretty good.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Like, we got shadow puppets from you, man. Like, already, like, I felt like that's like your high watermark. You could have just been like, all right, this is a walk-off, guys. I'm done.
I shouldn't have opened with that. I should have closed with that. You know?
Troy Aikman and you should tell Troy Aikman less is more. Oh my gosh, I can't stand listening to that. Joe Buck too. Sorry, can't. I hate Fox.
Tell us how you really feel. Okay, no, don't.
Well done.
Well done. Out there still, I can't listen to those. I try, and I'm just like, no. But I didn't like John Madden either, so I don't know. I thought it was foolishness with John Madden.
Hey, Brad.
Good evening, Brad.
Ooh, Brad's here. That's a legend right there. Not a Hall of Famer.
Brad is a legend.
Yeah, we only have one Hall of Famer here, but we're still trying to
let me get him. Hold on.
Dave, I thought this was here, Dave. I thought you were going to be the Hall of Fame.
Hashtag impeach.
It would make me.
No, there it is. That's the real Hall of Famer right there.
That's right. That's right. Finally, about time.
To have him announce you as a Hall of Famer, Dave, that would be. I could not stop laughing if he had to do that.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think anybody has to worry about that.
I want it to happen so bad just for that point.
Did you want it badly enough? Did you vote?
I voted.
Okay. So you did include Dave in your vote?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I
didn't watch all of them. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, the only bad thing is Dave's vote counts went down from the year prior. As somebody so.
But I mean,
the thing though is like, jokes aside for a second, the whole concept is absurd because the rules, if you will, are conditioned as such because like Dave's vote didn't count. Dave's vote that he made. Now, the technicality is you were supposed to post your link on the thing too, so that's why Dave's vote didn't count. Theoretically, you could, for reasons, but it gives plausible deniability because by the letter of the rule in question, that was this rule, it wasn't met.
Very true. Very true.
I don't know how many votes Dave got this year, but I was like, maybe this is his year to like it'd be poetic justice. That's what I would.
I got my first 2 this year, and one of them happens to be on screen right now.
Ah,
Well, actually 2.
I've been voting for Dave and Brad ever since when it started, and that's I think the only. But I also voted for people that, like last year, I voted for Everett, and he hasn't made a video in God knows how long. So I couldn't do it this year if it's just, I don't know. I mean,
The stipulations are way off. The 1 year thing is absurd because for any of us who have been around for as long as what Dave and I have, so many people come and go like clockwork that the 1 year it's asinine.
yeah, I agree.
So now if it's true that there's speculation that a certain individual may step down as the commissioner, it'll be interesting to see.
A rule change?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if somebody will step up and take over ownership and if there's going to be any changes to the qualifications.
I vote Dave. Dave's going to be the commissioner.
Dave's the commissioner. And as my first act, I name myself. And if you wish to be named, tributes.
Yep.
All comes in, nothing comes out. That is all. I have spoken.
It'd make perfect sense to me because I'd be like, yep, I agree. Dave should be the guy making these rules because I don't know if I know anyone that's been in YouTube longer than Dave. I think right now, top of my head,
I've been around as long as Dave has, or close to it.
2010.
Could you imagine though what the Hall of Fame announcement would sound like? Dave would go in to do the Hall of Fame announcement. 45 minutes later, would realize he forgot to actually name anybody. It would just be 45 minutes, and it'd be like, Dave, you didn't actually say who was in. Oh.
That's what
Numbers in the comments.
It'll be on the Instant Revolution podcast. That'll be the 47-part series.
I was gonna say the fourth hour of the 7th episode.
Yeah.
We got our first nominee.
All will be revealed.
Is it like it's like ICP and the Joker's cards? What is it?
No, see, if Dave became the commissioner, he'd be too good for the Insert Revolution podcast. It'd be gone. It'd go to his head.
Would make it mandatory.
I don't know, Steve. That's tough because the Instant Revolution podcast has, my snark. It has the Hockey Oracle, and it's got Chair right now.
Yes,
like that right now. Between those 3 factors, this is easily the best podcast, sports card podcast on a Tuesday.
By far.
By far. No doubt. No question. Top tier. Top tier.
Only because there's another one that we won't mention.
There's another one?
Yeah, there is.
Question mark?
So I heard. There's speculation and rumors surrounding.
Well, I heard there's a 1 hour black hole in my schedule next Tuesday. So we'll see if that comes to pass.
Oh yeah, that is next week.
Supposedly, that's my understanding. So
allegedly,
that's right.
I can't wait to see the build up for that.
We already know if that comes to pass. It's like so guys, I'm gonna be. Do you mind if I pop in right at the beginning for a little bit? I was joking with somebody that it would be very funny if I did that, but then like kept my camera on here and just muted myself here and had the other window open.
You have 2 chairs.
And just participated in silence. And I was simulcasting for both.
I think you should, Carlos. I think you should.
I think I have the bandwidth to pull that off. I might be able to I'll be like, I can do 2 at once. Why not?
Are you're not going to participate on this one at all, so you wouldn't have to be like back and forth?
No, I'm literally going to be in both at the same time. That's my intention. It's like I'll just mute myself during that part, and you'll see me talking, and it'll be like not related to what's happening here. And people will be like, "Wait, what is going on?" And he's looking at the camera. It's like he's talking to somebody.
Yeah, you can mute yourself on the other one and talk to us. Like, boy,
Yeah, like this. It's like, oh, what a dumbass! Like, for God's sake, what kind of stupid nonsense set of questions are these?
And he's talking. What the hell is happening? Oh no! Cheers.
No. Jeez, Bob.
That's
And
why
on
he's a
that
Hall of
note-
Famer, people.
Yep, there you go.
In a nutshell, this is how you get into the Sports Card YouTube Hall of Fame. Dave, take notes.
I did leave for like a second to get a different soda. I mean, I had a
That
cherry.
doesn't count.
No,
That
not good enough.
Even here
Not
for what's the minimum amount of time that I actually have to leave and come back?
However long Bob just left.
Yeah, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. It just all kind of depends.
And if you could do the shadow puppets thing, that's a bonus.
I don't know. I don't know if they got lighting for it.
And on that note, we have passed the 3-hour mark, Dave. Just time check, throwing that out there. We are coming up at the end of the month. I didn't bother to look to see how much time we had left. I think we're good, but just a quick time check
For the month of March?
for the month of March.
Well, you've got 31 days in March, so you still got a little bit of time.
Yes, but it's one of those of which when it resets.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I forgot. That's right.
Yes, for us free people, we have to wait for the resets.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I get it.
That merch money isn't quite pouring in just yet.
Fair. I get it. Well, speaking of money, I'm trying to decide if I want to sell one of the Sotos. I got a decent offer for it. That's all right. I got to think about it. I'll think about it a little
Pink?
longer.
Was it a pink or just the base?
No, this one is the Bowman Best. I got a PSA 10 base Bowman Best. I got that. I had that one up on eBay, but I put it a little high just to field offers on it.
Sure.
Because I have the refractor and that's the base one, and I also have a BGS 9.5 of the base. So like I have a couple, so it's one of those things where it's like I can let one go. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
If you got an extra, you can afford it, and then that'll fund some other cards potentially. So that could be fun.
Speaking of merch, shameless plug for you, Carlos. Any new updates on the beer glasses?
I have ordered a handful of beer steins, frosted beer steins, but I got to see if they're any good. That's the big thing. I got to see if they're any good. So what I'll do is I'll get them in. I have placed the order. So when I get them in, they will make an appearance on a live stream if they're any good, if they're to my satisfaction. They are a bit expensive, so that's why I'm like, they better be good. and to be honest, I'm not really going to sell the things. I'll probably just be like, all right, just I'll probably send one or two off and go, here you go, knock yourself out. If somebody really wants them badly enough, I can always order them, but they are kind of expensive. I would have preferred the pint glass, but I was like, oh, that beer stein looks kind of cool. I definitely want at least one for me and Carlos Senior, but I did grab one or two extra.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's got to be small. It's got to be small batch orders.
You have to put them up
So as right. So as long as one ends up at Bobby to follow what we are planning at some point in the future, whenever that happens to transpire.
Could
Allegedly.
Could be.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah, but it could. Either way, though, I'll see because it looked interesting. I just got to see. I got to see how they execute. Like that's what it really comes down to. There's a lot of places that'll do it, but it's like, can you do it well, or is it just something where I just threw the money away?
Right.
I'd rather throw my own money away, and then it's like, okay, whatever. I'll just keep it as an extra glass sitting around in the cabinet.
No, makes sense.
I've flirted with the idea of throwing my money away at getting like a
Hall of Fame teacher?
bobblehead.
Oh.
Like a little bobblehead. I just wouldn't know which version of Bob Lewis, would be worthy of a bobblehead. So
The one that is
figure that
chair.
one out.
Yes, it would need to be chair.
It would be
One-
empty chair.
As much as much chair as possible in that.
The
bobblehead.
swivel would be the chair. The base could be the base, and then the swivel would be the chair. Done.
Yeah.
Now pay Carlos for coming up with the design idea.
Yeah, merge consultation, Bob.
That's 50.
Dang,
You could use some of the Mahomes money to forward it over. Let's go.
unsolicited. Does
There's
anybody
not such a
collect
thing on
A-Rod
this.
I was gonna say, did you not read the
collect,
contract, Bob?
A-Rod in the Texas Rangers uniform, or Steve?
No.
Nice.
I remember when A-Rod was here in the Double A. He was here for a short time. He was up in Wisconsin before he went pro. He was a timber rattler for a brief week.
Timber rattler.
Yeah, I don't care too much for Aroyd.
Mhm.
Well, he was. I mean, he was all the whole talk here. We can't believe he got here, and he was here and gone already. The single A Timber Rattlers, so he wasn't here long. But yeah,
First big major contract that was, publicly advertised. And yeah, he did all right, but they still sucked.
Well, that's case in point of one player isn't going to fix your problems.
Yep.
It's one of those things. For
not
what
basketball.
he did, he was worthy of being paid. Steroids or not, he put up the numbers to be worth
Yes.
the most amount of money. But one guy is not going to fix your problems. You need a team around it to make it work.
Yes, they got 10 times better after they, booted him.
Yeah,
But,
could be. Yeah. It wouldn't shock me, but for what he brought to the table, like a power hitting shortstop that could hit 50 home runs, like they don't grow on trees. It's like, yeah, 25 million probably made sense, but you still needed to fit the rest of the team around him with something, or you weren't going to win a damn thing anyway.
Yep.
At least one other, because
Something.
when did the Diamondbacks win with like all they had was pretty much Johnson and Schilling? Like
Oh, one.
I love
they
that.
they had nothing else really go on that team, did they? I mean, I
Well,
had to have something. Obviously,
Gonzalez
What
hit
was
56 home runs that year.
Yeah, it
Luis
was.
Gonzalez.
Luis Gonzalez,
Oh.
yeah, 56 home runs that year, and they had they had a bunch of veteran guys though. They had Matt Williams, and now they were not what they once were at that point, but they were good veteran players.
Yeah.
And the hero was like Craig Counsell.
Yes.
It's always got to be somebody like you need somebody like that to step up. You're David Eckstein.
Yeah.
That's who you need.
Oh.
Somebody in that vein.
Those are the kind of things that I love from the World Series, where a guy
Be right
comes
back.
nowhere and just makes a big play and makes the big difference in a world. That's the kind of stuff I love about sport.
Yep, it does happen. It happens more frequently in baseball, it seems.
Yeah.
The guy least expected to make a difference is the one that has a blowout series or something and just like kicks major ass.
Yeah.
The best of their career ever, and it just happens to be during the World Series, and you're like, really? Why couldn't you been consistently shitty like you were before?
I mean, we just.
And
I never
they're
heard
playing
of-
your team, of course. Go ahead, Bob.
No, I just last year I never heard of Randy Arozarena before the World Series, and the guy hits like 10 home runs in the postseason last year. So
What a
that's
great
all.
on fire.
If that's all he ever does, I'll never forget it. It's kind of cool.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
So, are you a fan of collecting football rookies in their college uniforms, or do you just wait until pro stuff comes out?
I'm just not a college uniform guy. It's not my cup of tea. I have very few. I don't have any of my Bart Starr collection. There's only one of him in a college uniform, but the card itself has Packers on it.
Is it from like Exquisite or something?
It's from Treasures. It's a
Okay.
manufactured patch that says Bama, and he signed it 10 his college number. Card is still Packers uniform, the borders of it. That's the only reason why I kept it in the collection. But as far as me, there's some players that just love college stuff. It's just not.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, I mean, I've got quite a bit of college stuff in mind, but that's only because Upper Deck and everything didn't have the NFL license. So,
Like, I have some BJ Rogers. I used to be a BJ Rogers super collector. How short that time period was because he didn't have a whole lot. I have some Boston College stuff, but even then, I'm just like, I don't know. It's for me. You got your college football fans, and say if you're a fan of Alabama, you're gonna love Alabama players in the NFL, and you collect those guys, and they're sprinkled throughout the NFL. That's how some people collect.
Yeah.
I really don't. If I'm going to collect anybody, I guess it would be Wisconsin players, and I do like Wisconsin players become Packers. But and I like to see. I like to follow like Melvin Gordon's career, and I like to see where these guys go. But you got to be a Packer uniform for me. Yeah, my fat guy super. That's why I got my Kenny Clarks. That's I like my fat. I don't know if you guys have. mock draft apps or websites that you go to. I use Pro Football Network, I believe it's called. I mock draft all the time. And here's me in the mock draft. It's offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I really appreciate the linemen because they never get any love in the hobby as much. And so when I do have, like in my Hall of Fame set, there's a lot of offensive and defensive linemen, and that's kind of the reason I love it so, because they can't exclude them. They're in the Hall of Fame. You can't exclude them, in a regular set. So there's like guys like Jackie Slater in here, never got any hobby love, and never will. That's why I do it. Plus, there's
random.
Funniest guys. The linemen are some of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
So quick question though, and it pertains to your set. I haven't watched the last two videos that you did. So I know that they had the Hall of Fame set, and I know you started the NFL 100 or whatever it is, top
100, which it's still a mystery. Panini doesn't make it easy on you to figure out what the hell's going on with these sets.
My question is though, are they still doing the Hall of Fame set in the various products, or did they stop doing that and move to this other one?
They're still doing this set, and it's going to consistently come out as long as there's Hall of Famers getting inducted every year. They still have old ones to do. There's some guys that passed away. I think Bobby Mitchell just passed away last year. I didn't really realize it. I don't know if Panini's got him autographed or not in the set or not. I really don't know. But they're going to continue it, and hopefully they catch up to the point where I can only have to buy 5 or 6 cards a year instead of like 10 or 15 or because each time they release 10 or more, I gotta put aside $1,000, just it or more, depending on who's in it. The Randy Moss was $180, and I'm probably gonna have to pay that again because he's gonna be in a Patriots uniform, because that's what they decided to do. Put in alternate uniforms, make me pay for 2 Joe Montanas. But yeah, this other set, it's been sprinkled in the NFL Top 100. It's been sprinkled in many products now. 5 coming out in Panini 1, which is a big. That itself makes it hard to collect. To have a 1-card product and it being Paul Warfield, which is normally a $20-$25 card. Now I got to pay like $60 to buy it now. It's ridiculous.
Are they gonna be encapsulated because of Panini 1?
Out of Panini 1. See, but they're the ones that are coming out of Panini 1 that just came out, expensive. I haven't even bought one yet. One mysteriously came out in limited football, Lenny Moore. I paid $10 for it. So it's all about like high-end product, and someone's paying $600 to get a Paul Warfield on-card auto that's not numbered for 1 card. Now you can't tell me that ain't ridiculous. So people want to try to recoup as much money as they can. The Dick Butkus I see went for like 120 the other day. I'm like, you're kidding me. So, but like I said, that might be a big mistake, the NFL 100, because I might have to end up buying Tom Brady autos.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God.
Emmitt Smith or.
Did I mention at any point? I don't think I did. But for fun, I was looking at the Aaron Rodgers like Chrome rookies and stuff, and I'm like, no. I would like to, but
Chrome refractor.
No. Both. The regular Chrome. I would love to get the refractor, but double no.
That's like $30K or something.
Take the original. No, not at like the super high end. Yes, but even like an 8 or a 9 or something like that. No, they're super high. They're thousands. But
what's an ungraded one going for these days?
I can tell you.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. But I will tell you though, a quick. Go ahead, Bob.
I don't know.
No, I just gonna say I made a pretty big I would call it a kid card, to use Dave's nomenclature.
Oh,
That's my word, Bob.
Oh,
bold
gee.
move, Bob.
You'll be
Bold move.
getting a call from my attorneys.
But it's Dave's nomenclature is
He's
kid
mocking you
card.
now. He thinks his Hall of Famer
The
status gives him a pass.
Nomenclature is yours. Kid
So-
cards, Dave.
so Dave-
Nomenclature
so-
yours.
So
I
Dave,
just
can you
combined.
kick him
I
off?
just combined both hosts' things into one thing. Anyways, it was a.
That doesn't mean you're special.
Oh no, he's special.
Like,
There
big
is no question, no
confusing.
doubt. No one in this panel or anywhere else will argue that Bob is in fact special.
Just
No
like
one.
you tell your kids they're special.
It's like I will defy anyone to try to claim that Bob Lewis is not special. I will fight them on this, and you know I can argue for days.
It is a 98 SP Authentic Randy Moss rookie, so that'll be coming.
Oh,
soon.
nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you get it raw or did you get a graded?
Raw.
Did you? Gotcha.
Yeah. From
Did
a from
Tops
a
back then?
respect. What's that?
Did you buy any Topps Finest back then and have some of that stuff? Like 98?
Oh yeah, I actually I have I think I have a 9. We opened a lot in 98. The very little SP Authentic we opened, I was able to pull a Fred Taylor, but that was about it as far as notable rookies.
Well, yeah, because it was like what, one a box
Yeah.
if you were lucky.
Yep. I'm just glad we
'Cause they were
bought
all
more
serial
than one
numbered.
box 2 years later.
So, Steve, I was taking a look, and it's been a while since one is sold ungraded for the refractor. The last one's almost the beginning of the year, 1100 for like the ungraded.
I said 8.
So-
and I mean,
So it's like no, I'm talking about ungraded, just
Yeah.
flat out ungraded. So it's like no, they've gone up, they've gone up quite a bit,
What about just the base ungraded?
The base you can probably get for 500 and change, 400.
here's
something like that.
here's the Mega Topps card. it's literally mega. That's the. I have a regular. I got a gift of the regular Topps card, not BGS 95. At that time, 2 years ago, maybe $100.
Yeah.
What is it now? 600-700. I don't even know.
I'll give you a
More
great
than that.
comparison, Steve. So like imagine BGS 9, which will get you less than a regular PSA. That'll get you less than a PSA 9, 3700.
Yeah.
So
For
it's
a
like
base chrome?
So
for
hard.
base chrome. Oh no, sorry, hold on. That is the refractor. That is
Okay, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's like a complete different,
Yeah, they snuck it in here. Hold on. Let me refine this search.
Oh, cards are so tough. They're always off. You know, to have any kind of 9s or 9.5s or 10s, the population isn't that big on that.
Okay, so here we go. So PSA 9, non-chrome, base chrome, 953.
That's
What's
not bad.
that black?
Yeah.
What's that black refractor in a 9 going?
Oh, those
for? I
things are
know
nuts. No, the black
I know
refractor.
somebody who
But-
has one of those.
Look, that's borderline Amish Dave Archer money right now.
I really
Yeah.
That's how you own 5 or 6 houses and a warehouse and a Learjet and like don't let that. He's been sitting all quiet, like playing coy. Don't let him fool you.
That's
And
Jerry
Lake Superior.
Kramer in a PSA 10.
At this
money
point,
right
Dave
there.
owns Lake Superior. Why do you think he can afford
Right.
to collect 87 million players?
Well, the base tops that I have that's BGS 9.5 is the difference between a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10 is so wildly different that I have to, when I go to the national, hopefully the PSA will let me do things.
It's one of those things where if I had been in a position to send in the cards, this thing's been sitting on my desk forever.
I have one. I have
That's the base tops. I'm perfectly capable of sending it
How's
in.
the centering on it, Carlos?
On the tops, let me see.
Because they're
Top
they're
to bottom,
notoriously
top to
bad.
bottom, it's off. Left to right, it's good, but top to bottom, it's
Oh
definitely off.
wow.
But it's one of those things. Like for one of these would stay in the PC. So here's the Heritage one, and then there's the Topps flagship. So I just want to keep one of these. I wouldn't mind moving the other one, but it's like it's gonna sit here until the opportunity
Well, if you
presents
want
itself.
one that's the iconic, you want the Topps flagship.
I don't care. I don't really care
No?
For me. Not to be honest with you, I don't need both. It's just a matter of what the situation would be when it came back.
I came on this podcast before and asked. I have the complete set in cellophane. I have one of
Keep
those
it closed.
sitting up there.
Keep it close.
Yeah.
And you guys said that, and I had, like I told you, I had other people in the hobby said, "What are you doing holding on to that? Get it out of there." I'm like, really? I don't, I just left it in there. I mean, I already have one. I don't need another one.
I have one too, though, Joey. And regardless, although sets don't appreciate like the singles do, it's one of those in which it's untouched basically from human hands. And there's no guarantee it would 10 or anything along those lines or pristine or anything. There's no guarantee. But
There's no guarantee it would get a 7. I mean,
That's
you don't
true
know
too.
you don't want what it's like.
Yeah, it comes right out of the box. It looks nice, looks corners sharp, edges sharp, off center.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the best laid plans of mice and men, it's like, oh, but now you opened it, it's done.
Right. And I said, if I didn't have one, maybe I would do that. But I already have one.
Yeah, because I have one that is sealed like yours, and mine is the Packers version, like yours. I have one that I built. I also have my Chrome set, and then I have 2 Topps First Edition sets that I put together.
First editions, they really went crazy. One just was posted in our Lambo group, and people went nuts. Well,
because so 04 and 05 were the only years, I believe. I know for a fact 05, but I believe 04 and 05 you could actually buy boxes of first edition before they became randomly inserted.
I remember Bowman used to have first edition, right?
They did it too. Yep.
I can't remember what years. It's been so long.
04 was one.
04, I remember.
I don't know if they did one in 05, but I bought, and since you're still doing a peek, Carlos, see if you can find any 2005 Topps First Edition boxes.
Topps First Edition boxes.
Yep.
Oh my
whether
God.
whether they're listed or previously sold. So the card shop that I used to work for on occasion, I bought them for $40 a box.
Yeah.
And I probably bought 8 or 9 of them. And out of those 8 or 9, I could only put together 2 sets because there's like 3 or 4 cards per pack. So it was almost like a pack out like Chrome. It was 24 packs per box and there was only 4 cards per pack or something along those lines.
So
but I was able to put together.
Talking about the hobby box, right?
Yes, but first edition.
Yeah, first edition. I got it.
Yeah, stuff like that right now is so white hot that, oh my goodness. If you were gonna sell during the playoff run, is probably a little bit more money. But even then, the sustainability of Rogers rookies right now are just insane. The grade really doesn't. It makes a difference, but if you just have any, like I have a couple sitting here that I just had sitting around, and one's a Bowman rookie card, and
the other one's what, Topps Total?
Your Topps Total, which is, and a lot of this stuff, believe it or not, came from a lot of care packages back in the old YouTube days that, they told me, someone would just say, oh, rookie card of your quarterback here. And that's,
yep.
Last one here was 768.90. So in auction.
Wow.
And the one before that was 1,000 best offer.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me.
Whew. Yeah,
but that was the last year, and one of the few years in which they actually had it as a standalone product that you could purchase by the box.
Yeah.
And you got how many Rogers out of the first edition? 2?
Well, I put together 2 sets.
So you got at least 2.
I pulled 5 Rogers.
5 Rogers, man.
I've sold one.
Good.
Oh, like years ago though. That's the problem. And then I still have two.
Well, that's good. I mean, if you ever had to like fund some kind of where you had to have a card, you could go to one of those and say, "Hey, I can sell this right now, sell it as a set or whatever you wanted to do." But that's good to know that you have like I keep a few cards in the back pocket just in case. In this last year that we had everything just explode, I saved some of it for trade bait for the future. And most of us who got all this stuff, we've got literally nothing into it, and it's from years ago.
Yeah.
So like that when that Calvin Johnson comes back, if it comes back at 10, it's just like I maybe have $1 into it. I don't know.
Right.
And it's so
Yeah, my Kobe's are what I'm banking on at some point.
the good thing about this, I live in a smaller area, and I'm a mail carrier, so everyone knows who I am, and they call me by name. And, there's only 10,000 people in town, maybe if that. I'm having at least 2 collections come my way, and it's that era of basketball. So I'm going to be going through one of the purchases that somebody else made, and he's going to pay me to go through it, hoping to find any kind of Kobe's, any kind of football rookies. There's some gold mines out there now. It used to be like you couldn't give it away. Now people are paying me to go through it. Wow. But there's people that they say, here, take everything for $200. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I might find a Jeter rookie or a Mariano Rivera rookie.
Right. So, Brad, I just saw your question or saw your statement, and I just the question finally just pulled into the chat. You're alluding to the first edition, Ronnie? And define people as in like quantity.
Brad.
Or is it, i.e., Brad looking for one? Because I would not, I'm not going to tear apart the sets that I have, but I do have dupes, quite a few dupes as it pertains to that rookie class, because I opened so many boxes. And the hardest ones, which is kind of crazy, trying to think, rookie class. When was Benson? When did Cedric Benson come out? 05?
It was him, Cadillac, and then Ronnie Brown.
Was early. That was 05, I believe, I think, too.
So he was one of the hardest to get. As I was putting the sets together, I put the first set together fairly quick, but then as I started putting the second one together, it was like, what the hell? Why the hell do I not have any more Cedric Bensons? So I kept buying boxes. It's, the shop never opened any, so I couldn't buy any singles. So I physically had to buy boxes and put the sets together. And that the correlation in that production sucked.
Same card?
Because some of the packs would have the same. Okay, I got to figure out the best way to word this. There were times in which like the same 4 cards would be in a pack. So no matter how many packs you opened, 4 cards would always be in the same pack.
Yeah. It's kind of like Prism basketball. It's the same rotation from last year. I've watched a lot of that. It's my first time watching basketball breaks, for one thing. If you saw a certain card, you'd see you're getting a Morant like in the next pack or a Zion. They just knew. I'm like, holy crapes. But it hasn't changed much. I guess it's the same thing. And then when I was doing that Top Series 1 baseball from this, I've seen the same rotation of cards too within, it's not random. It's just machined.
Exactly. So Dave, just hit the 3.5 hour mark. Figured we'd try and wind this one down for this week.
Commissioner Dave, we give it to you.
Miss you.
Dave's winding himself into position. He's like, "What does Chair think? Like, can I text Chair? Is it too late to text Chair?" Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, real quick, Dave. I will say there is one advantage to degeneracy as far as checking eBay stuff too often. While we were sitting there chatting, I was checking the thing. A Joey Mullen Medano dual patch out of 10 came up for $27. Buy it now.
And you jumped all over it.
I may have pressed the button very quickly, and it was shipping included. I was like, I will take that, thank you. It's also number 9 of 10, and I'm like,
Madonna's number. So
Okay.
that's
so when that comes in, you'll see the dual patch, and I was like, okay then, great, sure, whatever, I'll take it.
I bought a hockey card this year. That was I went to Dave. I'm like, I got very nice
You
one.
froze Dave. You froze Dave.
Nothing can freeze that man. He lives in Minnesota.
Right?
true.
And there's still snow probably on the ground.
We have very little. I seen one patch of snow.
There's some.
In the shade.
Yesterday it was like close to 60, but it was like a 30-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah.
Now today it was like topped out at 32 with like a 35-mile-an-hour wind.
Me and Dave,
You can hear that thing whistle, and you're looking. You're like, you can hear the trees like creaking.
we're on the same latitude, or is it longitude? But he's just west of me by like 8 hours. I don't know. I don't know how many hours drive. It's probably less than that.
So we got the weather forecast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
didn't get the
covered up-
barometric pressure, but we got close.
Yes, that is true.
Speed.
By the weekend, it's going to be in the 50s, so hopefully no wind. That's the shitty part. I mean, anytime there's a nice day, 30-mile-an-hour wind, it's like, okay.
Don't worry, Dave. We'll root for you to get a nice day before PSA reopens submissions. Come on, July 1st.
We have like 3 months where it's like above 70, and that's about it.
3 months, maybe 1 month.
Well, I'm exaggerating. It's humid.
Bob's doing the numbers in his head right now. He's like, 3
No.
months. How many days is that?
I'm doing something in my head.
I'm by the
Obviously.
Shit.
6, 5, 72, 98, 122.
Square root of pi.
Q.
Cubed root of 99,265.
You couldn't make.
How many PCs Dave has?
Root of it.
You will not
Figure out that number. Go.
delivering mail in Texas with no AC. You're not making me move to Texas. I become. I don't know how those carriers.
We have AC.
They got themselves some electricity down there in Texas nowadays.
My truck doesn't have air conditioning. I have to like suffer in it all day. It's awesome. Of course,
That could be the small town thing though too.
no.
God bless you, Steve. God bless you. And I'm not even a believer. Still, God bless you. Just the same. Just the same.
I do have my moments, Carlos. I do have my moments. So perfect opportunity. to
Write
shut
it down. We've got chair, Dave. You can do it.
Yep.
Now's the time.
Bob's not here now. You can shut it down.
Yeah, no last minute questions from Bob that'll drag us on for another 40 minutes. Thank you to Carlos. Thank you to Joey. Thank you to Chair. Thank you to Shelves. I guess Bob as well, because without Bob coming on, we couldn't see Chair and Shelves. Got the PSA breaking news in. Talked a little bit about that. Talked about, of course, Ed couldn't be here because he's got a 5-hour fantasy baseball draft. And
That's it. That's a euphemism for he's at a crypto convention right now. He's right now arguing about what the best Doge play is. That's don't let him lie to you. Yeah, I drafted a team. That's on auto draft. I can tell.
yeah,
You're paying attention to Doge, Crypto Griff. Don't lie to us.
we got
Doge for Doncic.
I told him his moment has come. Like, this is it. The ship is about to come in. Take us home, Dave. Please take us home. I'm doing this for your own good too. Take us home.
We got to the Easter eggs, which may or may not be a thing, but if everybody else is pushing nonsense, why can't we? It's that kind of culture we're trying to spread here, hardcore or otherwise. So thanks to everyone joining us. Thanks for everybody joining in the chat. Got anything, Steve, before we...
Nope.
Signing
He's
off.
Steve. I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, great time. The friendships that come with the hobby, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.